Family Cultivation. I can improve my magic weapon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 726, Small Exchange Meeting, Fire Spirit Pill Recipe. As the Wanbao Conference approached, more and more monks poured into Qingguang City, adding to the prosperity and bustle here. The flying boats of King's sect and Hunyuan Palace also arrived one after another, landed on Bay Peak, and began to host the Wanbao Conference with the monks of Binghai sect. In order to make a name for themselves, some merchants began to move out their long-treasured treasures to attract customers, and soon made a lot of money. In order to make a profit and enrich themselves, a small number of merchants began to sell inferior or counterfeit goods to try to fish in troubled waters. As a result, they were reported less than a day after selling, and were sealed by the three sects on the same day and punished accordingly. The three people waited patiently and finally waited for the day when the Wanbao Conference was held. The rules of this Wanbao Conference were the same as those of previous sessions, and it was mainly held in two sessions. The first 5 days were a free trade barter meeting, where participating monks could exchange treasures for trading. The entire transaction process was supervised by the Wanbao Conference to prevent any tricks. After the barter meeting ended, the next 3 days would be the highlight of the auction. At that time, Hunyuan Palace, King's sect, and Binghai sect will each auction their treasures for 1 day, and the top business alliances under the three sects will also come on stage to auction rare items. Although the exchange meeting is a free trade for cultivators, it is also a pre-sale, but occasionally some rare treasures will appear, and there will be Yuanian cultivators participating in it. The venue of the conference is quite large, and the outer field is temporarily open. All participating cultivators can set up stalls here to operate, exchange treasures, and move freely. Around, the guards of the three sects sent 30 purple mansion cultivators and 3 golden elixir cultivators to patrol and guard around the clock day and night. Chen Qingyun and the other 2 successfully entered the conference with the Wanbao order. At this time, more than 30,000 cultivators have gathered here in the outer field, and the number is still increasing. Thousands of cultivators have set up stalls in an orderly manner, sitting on the ground, taking out the treasures they have prepared for a long time and placing them out for selection. On the stalls, from magic tools to talismans, puppets, and formations. Then there are spirit beast eggs, rare minerals, skills, etc., which are all available, making people dazzled. According to the rules here, you can exchange items at the same price, or you can directly use spirit stones to buy. With so many resources on display, the scene was extremely hot, and Chen Qingyun and the other 2 were slightly shocked. In the past, there were not many cultivators participating in the exchange conference in Xinghai, and there were only 200 or 300 people who rushed to the top. Looking at the front, more than 30,000 cultivators participated in the exchange conference, and there were more and more cultivators joining the ranks of setting up stalls. This bustling scene, let alone foreign cultivators like Chen Qingyun, even local cultivators were excited. Such a rich resource transaction immediately attracted a large number of people and became the favorite transaction link for foundation building cultivators. Compared with the auction in the inner field, the transactions here are much freer, and there is no need to bid at a sky-high price. If you are lucky, you can also pick up leaks and get the purple mansion crystal or something. These hidden opportunities make this small exchange meeting in the outer field the most popular and the most anticipated trading activity for low-level cultivators. Chen Qingyun paid close attention and found that the surrounding area was mainly composed of foundation building cultivators. Purple mansion cultivators accounted for 30%, and giant cultivators accounted for less than 10%. Only a dozen people. It seems that high-level cultivators still prefer the auction in the inner field and will not spend more time here. For Chen Qingyun and the other 2, this grand trade fair is very fresh. If you take a closer look, you can always get some good things. As for the resources of the fantasy sea and whether the products are rich, Chen Qingyun has a rough idea in his mind after browsing dozens of stalls. If the resources in Qianxing City are already very rich and varied, then here they are more extensive and comprehensive on this basis. Putting aside the conventional resources of magic tools and talismans, Chen Qingyun has seen rare resources such as Qingguang stone, Hunyuan wood, and Dihai golden lotus. With the protection and constant supervision of the three sects, the cultivators here can trade freely without worrying about someone killing people and stealing treasures. Chen Qingyun made a decisive move and began to exchange some Qingguang stones. After some negotiations, he exchanged 3 third-level spiritual talismans for a palm-sized Qingguang stone. After that, he exchanged several temporarily repaired second-level magic tools and 1 third-level magic tool for resources such as Hunyuan wood and purple monkey flower. Most of the things that can catch the eye of Chen Qingyun, a giant and cultivator, are spiritual materials, and the magic tools can be refined by themselves. The first day of the trading meeting passed quickly, and the three did not finish looking at all the stalls. There were too many and it was dazzling. Fortunately, the cultivators have amazing memory, and they can remember and distinguish the stalls they have seen, so as not to look at them repeatedly. On the second day of the exchange meeting, Chen Qingyun saw a pill recipe on the stall of a purple mansion cultivator. This pill recipe records the method of refining a kind of spiritual pill, Huolingdan. The fire spirit pill is a second-grade high-quality pill. Its effect is to assist in refining qi and remove the evil spirits and yin qi in the body of the foundation-building cultivators, and to eliminate hidden dangers. This effect is not very effective for the righteous cultivators. But if it is taken by a cultivator who has just entered the devil's way, or is lurking or possessed by the power of the devil, the effect can be immediate. The effect of the fire spirit pill is equivalent to a protective measure that can be used to treat the symptoms. It is better to be safe than sorry. Chen Qingyun thought that the younger generations of the family are emerging in an endless stream. In the future, it is hard to guarantee that those who are weak-willed and greedy will be bewitched by the devil and fall into the devil's way. It is definitely worthwhile to take precautions and prepare means in advance. So he exchanged this fire spirit pill recipe. Everything at the trading meeting is guaranteed to be authentic, especially the pill recipe, instrument recipe, elixir, and spiritual medicine, which are the focus of supervision. Any participating cultivator, regardless of their level of cultivation, can have the three sects cultivators test them for free before preparing to trade resources. After the exchanger gets these, he can also find the three sects cultivators for testing on the spot. For convenience, the three sects cultivators set up 9 identification offices here in the outer field and arranged experts in various fields of immortal cultivation to be responsible for the testing work. It is worth mentioning that all these cultivators responsible for testing have signed an agreement in advance, and will not disclose the content information and refining methods they see to the outside, and will keep it strictly confidential. It is unknown whether there is any trick in this, or bypassing the content of the agreement and reporting these contents to their own sects. Perhaps, this is also a part of the three sects' pursuit of profits. The opening of the identification office will give the traders here peace of mind after all, and the result is still good. Since it was a pill formula, it was impossible to sell more than 1 copy. The two parties signed a transaction agreement and only sold this copy to Chen Qingyun, and the transaction was completed. After getting the recipe for the fire spirit pill, Chen Qingyun continued to browse to see what other treasures he was interested in. Chapter 727. The highlight is here, the backstage auction. After getting the fire spirit pill formula, Chen Qingyun continued to browse in front of many stalls. He didn't see anything that interested him for the time being. On the other hand, Chen Qingyun, who was walking in front, took a fancy to 3 Dinyan pills. This pill can make cultivators stay young forever and keep their blood flowing smoothly. Chen Qingyun's idea was that there were exactly 3 pills, and she would take them back to give to her parents and her sister Chen Wan. The stall owner was a beautiful female cultivator, and the exchange price she offered was very cheap. After all, Dinyan pills were not a scarce item, and a first-level top-grade spiritual talisman was enough to complete the exchange. Liu Zilin soon took a fancy to a treasure. It was a jade ruai with wood attributes, According to the stall owner, it was obtained by an elder of the family when he was looking for treasure outside. Because the family's strength was limited, there were no giant cultivators, and the highest cultivation level was only at the peak of foundation building, so they wanted to exchange it for some spirit stones. Fellow Taoist, although this treasure is in a damaged state, it was originally a life magic weapon. It is estimated to be of the upper grade. Unfortunately, the formation pattern on it is missing and it can only be used once at present. You can take a closer look and test it. We also support you to take it to the 3-Sex testing center to test its authenticity. Please rest assured, the stall owner is the patriarch of his family. He did not hide his origin and told the truth. His cultivation is at the peak of foundation building. It seems that he is preparing to purchase the Purple Mansion crystal and wants to exchange for more spirit stones. According to his exchange requirements, he wants to exchange this jade ruai for 8,000 spirit stones. The price of a complete 4th grade upper grade magic weapon is about 1.2 million spirit stones. Since this jade ruai is damaged, it can only play its effect once more, so the price must be greatly discounted. 8,000 spirit stones are indeed not expensive, and the market price of this magic weapon in Huanhai is also much more affordable. If you like it, just exchange it. It is almost a waste product. Chen Qingyun and the other two are all weapon refiners. How can they not tell the quality of this magic weapon? What the other party said was indeed the truth, without a single lie. Liu Zilin was confident that she could repair this jade ruai. Chen Qingyun could analyze it directly and then refine it again, so the two of them communicated a few words and exchanged it. After exchanging money and goods, the elder of the clan was delighted and thought that he had finally collected enough spirit stones to purchase the Purple Palace crystal. It was really worth coming to this Wanbao conference, and the registration fee of 100 was not paid in vain. After collecting the spirit stones, this person was in a very good mood and continued to exchange the remaining spiritual medicines planted by the family with others, waiting for the destined person. In the following 3 days, the exchange meeting was crowded with people, and the number of participating cultivators had reached 50,000, which was quite lively. Fortunately, the outer field was large enough to accommodate up to 100,000 cultivators. The guards of the 3-Sex were always controlling the traffic and clearing the crowds, which made this grand exchange meeting proceed in an orderly manner. The 9 testing stations around have lined up, and the conversations in the line are endless. Some monks still choose to test on the spot in order to buy with confidence. Dare to cheat here, to a certain extent. It will damage the reputation of the Wanbao conference and slap the face of the 3-Sex. Yuanying monks will not do this, and these monks have no courage. Chen Qingyun paid close attention and handled many magic tools, talismans, spiritual materials and ores. It was found that the quality and value of the items themselves were not much different from the description of the stall owner, and there was no phenomenon of lions opening their mouths to overcharge customers. It is not easy to maintain such a good trading environment. Because there will always be monks who take shortcuts and play tricks, which is commonplace. But they have not appeared here for the time being, which shows how strong the deterrence of the 3-Sex is and how perfect their management is. The Wanbao conference is held every 50 years. It has continued for so many years. It must have been a bumpy road and constantly optimized, which is why it is what it is today. The fact that the casual cultivators here have so many opportunities to make money and cultivate to the foundation building stage, Purple Mansion stage, and even the Golden Elixir stage must be due to this excellent trading atmosphere. Now compare it with Xinghai, and the gap is indeed obvious. In the next 3 days, Chen Qingyun and the other two visited the exchange fair. All the old and new stalls were checked in place, and there were really not many things of interest. At the level of Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin, it is already difficult to find the treasures they like here, so they still have to focus on the inner auction. Chen Qingyun only exchanged 3 Dinyan pills this time, and there was nothing else that he was interested in. Either the magic weapon can be refined by herself, or there is Chen Qingyun, the 4th level weapon refiner brother. As for the talismans, there is no shortage for the time being, and Liuzalin can give her some for free. Other Purple Mansion resources are basically available in the family, and her own natural spiritual root qualifications do not need to rely too much on resources for cultivation. After experiencing the 5-day bustle of the exchange fair, the 6th day was the highlight. The auction in the inner field. Chen Qingyun and the other two went out early in the morning and entered the inner field with the golden Wanbao order. Even if they arrived more than an hour earlier, there were already nearly 100 cultivators gathered here. According to the Wanbao orders issued this time, the number of participants has reached more than 80,000. After selecting high-level cultivators, there are at least 1,000 people in the inner field. Among these 1,000 people, the Purple Mansion cultivators accounted for the vast majority, followed by the Golden Elixir cultivators, and the Yuanying cultivators accounted for a few people. After just waiting for a while, cultivators soon arrived in the field one after another. Chen Qingyun paid close attention and saw Zhang Xiling and Zhang Zhen. Compared to Zhang Xiling's indifference, Zhang Zhen came over enthusiastically to greet Chen Qingyun and the other two, and chatted with Chen Qingyun. Chen Qingyun responded briefly to this, and learned some information about the inner field from Zhang Zhen, the free local guide. Although the inner field will be held for 3 days, it is not long. But unlike the outer field, it will be suspended at night and then continue the next day. This inner field auction is the climax of 3 days, except for a short break in the middle for rest. The rest of the time will not wait until the 2nd or 3rd day to continue. The representative monks of the 3 sects and the major top business alliances under them will all take out the treasures they have prepared for a long time for auction. Most of the items have multiple pieces, such as the wood spirit essence water that appeared in the past. At least 5 pieces will be auctioned at a time. Resources such as the foundation building pill are just appetizers here, and they were also used to liven up the atmosphere at the beginning, starting with 10 pieces at a time. It is worth mentioning that there is no need to conceal your identity when auctioning here. With the protection of the 3 sects, unless the divine transformation cultivators make trouble, you can just show up and bid boldly. The cultivators who can sit here are not short of the 3,000 spirit stones of insurance fee. They have bought insurance in advance and have the 3 sects as their backers in the next 5 years. Chen Qingyun acted cautiously and spent 6 spirit stones 2 days ago to buy an insurance for himself and Liuzalin. As for King Luan, Chen Qingyun would buy whatever he wanted. Zhang Zhen, in order to save money, was not willing to spend the insurance fee. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 728 Lwolinger, Yuanying of the 3 sects. Since the auction has not started yet and is still in the waiting stage, the monks participating in the inner field have not yet arrived. During the casual chat with Zhang Zhen, Chen Qingyun learned about some of the items that have been decided in this auction, which will definitely be auctioned. For example, the 3 types of foundation building pills, Chongyun pills, and Purple Mansion crystals. These have been internally determined in the auction list, and the 3 sects have leaked this news to let everyone know. It is precisely because of the release of this news that more monks have come for requests, and they have prepared spirit stones early to lock in their targets. They may come for the foundation building pill, or they want to purchase the Purple Mansion crystal. Brother Chen, to be honest, Chongyun pills will appear in this auction. If I can bid for a Chongyun pill this time, I will be satisfied. But I estimate that the price of this pill will not be too low. There are too many Purple Mansion monks here, and the competition is too fierce. Zhang Zhen couldn't keep his words in his heart, and took the initiative to tell the purpose of this time. At the same time, he was tactful and did not ask Chen Qingyun what he wanted to buy. Chongyun pill is a 3rd-level elixir that helps Purple Mansion cultivators break through the realm. Because of its remarkable effect and no side effects, it is deeply loved by the Huanhai cultivators and is a local specialty. In the previous exchange meeting, Chen Qingyun had encountered that some Purple Mansion cultivators took out treasures and specifically wanted to exchange Hunyuan Plate first. However, this elixir is too rare and is basically in the hands of Qing's sect. It is generally not circulated in the form of exchange. After waiting for a while, more and more cultivators entered the venue, and the atmosphere became more lively. Many local cultivators met acquaintances here, and sometimes they talked and laughed in groups of 3 or 5, talking about the treasures that might appear this time. Chen Qingyun saw another familiar face among these people. It was Luo Huzi. At this moment, Luo Huzi was followed by a middle-aged woman, who looked quite ruddy and had close contact with Luo Huzi. Next to the middle-aged woman, there was also a young woman. The woman was wearing an exquisite yellow dress, with a pure and beautiful face and a pair of bright big eyes. She was talking to the middle-aged woman next to her from time to time. Are those two Luo Huzi's wife and daughter? Chen Qingyun looked at them with interest. While Chen Qingyun was paying attention, Luo Huzi looked around carelessly, just like a country bumpkin coming to the city, and also saw Chen Qingyun. The two looked at each other, and before Chen Qingyun could speak, Luo Huzi's hearty voice came over first. Ha ha ha, what a coincidence. I haven't seen you for many years. I didn't expect to meet fellow Taoist Chen here today. It's fate. While talking, Luo Huzi brought his wife and daughter to Chen Qingyun and greeted him enthusiastically. Fellow Taoist Chen. Knowing Luo Huzi's familiar personality, Chen Qingyun smiled lightly and nodded in response. Fellow Taoist Luo, long time no see. When his eyes fell on the two people next to Luo Huzi smiled and took the initiative to introduce his wife and daughter. This is my wife, and this is my daughter. Luo Huzi's wife is called Li Shuyi, and her cultivation is already in the middle stage of the golden core. She did not say hello, but just smiled at Chen Qingyun. Seeing that Li Shuyi's complexion was rosy and she was not injured, it seemed that the effect of taking Qixialingzi was very good. The young girl was called Luo Linger, and her cultivation had just broken through to the Purple Mansion stage. Seeing Chen Qingyun and the other two who were almost the same age as her, she blinked her big eyes and looked at them. When she saw that Chen Qingyun was younger than her, and her cultivation had reached the middle stage of the Purple Mansion, a trace of surprise flashed across her pretty face. When she looked at Liu Zilin and Chen Qingyun again, the surprise on her face became even stronger. Senior, in the golden core stage. She couldn't help but open her mouth, thinking that she had seen it wrong. They looked like they were the same age, but the difference was so big. Luo Huzi was an experienced person. He recognized the relationship between Liu Zilin and Chen Qingyun at a glance. They seemed to be close, which was very similar to the way he and his wife were when they were in love. Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun looked very similar, and they were obviously brother and sister. He knew it in his heart, but did not ask. He chatted with Chen Qingyun politely for a few words and told him that he came here to join in the fun and see if there were any treasures he was interested in. The two of them understood each other tacitly and guessed that the other party came here to buy some treasures for the next treasure hunt in the 5 Elements sect ruins, so they did not ask. After greeting, Luo Huzi and the other two found an empty seat nearby and sat down. In anticipation, time flew quickly, and it was time for the auction to start in a blink of an eye. Huanyuan Palace, King's sect, and Binghai sect saw the time and each sent a Yuanying old monster to the stage. Huanyuan Palace was a beautiful young woman, tall and slender, wearing a moonlight robe, with a majestic look. Standing on the far left. The one from King's sect was a white-bearded old man who looked friendly and down-to-earth, with a loving smile on his face. The nascent soul cultivators from Binghai sect were a couple with crutches. They were not tall, only up to the shoulders of the other two, but they stood in the middle. When these 4 nascent soul cultivators first appeared, Zhang Zhen introduced them enthusiastically. The Binghai sect has a big show this time. Even the Water Lord and the Water Lady have been brought out. Don't look at these two people who are short and look frail. They are both 1,000-year-old monsters. Both are nascent soul mid-stage cultivators. After a sigh, Zhang Zhen continued. But this time, the Huanyuan Palace and King's sect have also made quite a strong lineup. One is the Kanai Fairy in the late nascent soul stage, and the other is Xuanxuzi, who is in the middle nascent soul stage and a 5th level alchemy master. They are quite impressive on the surface. As soon as Zhongzhen finished speaking, the water masters and water ladies on the stage began to speak in the opening remarks and said a few polite words. At the same time, 4 figures appeared on the side of the stage, attracting considerable attention. Zhongzhen continued to inform that the 4 people were the 4 nascent soul cultivators sitting in Qingguang Island. The Qingguang elder on the far left has the highest cultivation level, and the other 3 are 1 nascent soul cultivator from each of the 3 sects, all of whom are in the early nascent soul stage. 8 nascent soul cultivators were present at a trading conference, and the Huanhai 3 sects strongly supported them behind the scenes. This lineup surprised Chen Qingyun and other foreign cultivators, and they felt more and more that they were just bumpkins. If a cultivator in the god transformation stage came on stage, the whole audience would be excited. As Chen Qingyun was sighing, what he said came true. Just after Qingguang and Po finished their opening remarks, the Yuanying cultivators on the stage, and even the 4 old men Qingguang, all felt it at the same time, showing respect and looking in the same direction. At the same time, all the cultivators in the audience felt this atmosphere and kept quiet at the same time, and the atmosphere suddenly became so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Even Zhongzhen, who was always talkative, kept silent at this time. When Chen Qingyun was puzzled, he followed the gaze of Qingguang and Po and several Yuanying cultivators, and saw that above the conference, a figure had been suspended in the air at some point. Chapter 729, Farewell to the Old Man in Plain Clothes. The Xuanling Wood Sword. That was an old man in plain clothes, who looked over 100 years old. He had an ordinary appearance and no sharpness. He looked like a centenarian in the mortal world, not a remarkable person. But he could appear here with such a high attitude, attracting the admiration of a group of Yuanying cultivators. He was no ordinary person. It's him. When Chen Qingyun saw the other person's appearance clearly, he was shocked. This person was actually the old man he met when he first entered the 10,000 Monsters Sea and experienced the whirlpool. At that time, with his own giant and stage cultivation, Chen Qingyun did not spy on the other person's cultivation. Now seeing him again, Chen Qingyun tried to explore with the 8 wastelands consciousness, and found that the consciousness was like a drop in the ocean, and he could not find anything. This result, combined with the reactions of all the cultivators, there is nothing to guess about this person's cultivation. It is very likely that he is a cultivator in the Huashan stage who has returned to the original simplicity. At the same time, many people in the scene also had the same idea as Chen Qingyun, and they opened their spiritual senses to scan the old man in plain clothes, curious about his origins. As a result, they could not find out anything, and they only felt that the other party was as unfathomable as the abyss. Under the attention of the crowd, the old man in plain clothes put one hand behind his back, stroked the goatee on his chin with the other hand, slowly smiled, nodded, and seemed to be giving instructions. The other party did not say anything. It was just such an ordinary action. He did not pay attention to the spiritual sense of the crowd, and instantly attracted the nascent soul cultivators such as Qingguang and Po to bow and nod in response. Compared with the previous high-handed and overlooking appearance. At this time, in front of this old man in plain clothes, they, the nascent soul cultivators, were as respectful and well-behaved as chicks facing an eagle, and did not dare to offend him in any way. The atmosphere in the whole venue became quieter, and there were some cultivators who secretly rolled their Adam's apples and swallowed their saliva out of fear. Before Chen Qingyun could take a closer look, the cloth-clothed old man flashed and disappeared in an instant, just like the last time he had a quick glance. With the permission of the senior, the invisible strong sense of oppression disappeared, and the 3 Xuanying cultivators, including Qingguang and Po, came to their senses, announced the official start of the auction, and left the stage. Before everyone could discuss who the cloth-clothed old man who had just appeared was, the host of the auction quickly appeared at this time. The first auction item was on the stage. Fellow Taoists, welcome to this Wanbao auction. I am He Futong. Time is precious. This auction will begin now. Futong raised the treasure in his hand without any hesitation and introduced it with a smile. The escape order, activated by blood essence, can be used up to 3 times, and the effect of each time is equivalent to the teleportation of the nascent soul. There are 3 in total, with a reserve price of 1 million spirit stones, and each bid must not be less than 1,000 spirit stones. After the introduction of the first auction item, the opening price was 1 million spirit stones. This price seemed very expensive, but it was rushed to buy by everyone. 1,001,000 spirit stones. 1,002,000 spirit stones. 1,003,000 spirit stones. Since it was the first auction item, the monks participating in the auction bid very steadily, without a large increase in price. Obviously, they wanted to take it slowly to avoid raising the price of the subsequent auction items. After a while, the price of the escape order continued to rise, reaching 1.1 million spirit stones, and it was still increasing. Everyone was prepared, and they would act quickly if they saw it, without hesitation. Escape order, this is a good thing, this first treasure is so amazing. Chen Qingyun muttered, knowing the origin of the escape order. The price of the escape order of 1 million spirit stones was not expensive, so Chen Qingyun followed suit and bid. Soon, the 3 escape orders were finally bought by a giant and cultivator from Leilinghi at a price of 1.5 million. The first item was sold at the expected price, and the host was very happy. He took out the second item with a smile on his face. The 4th level top-grade magic weapon Zhuxiantu Divine Sword is made of 10,000-year-old Zhuxiantu wood and is made by the 5th level refining master of Hunyuan Palace. It can be used by wood attribute cultivators to further increase its power by 10%. Starting price, 2.6 million spirit stones. The 4th level magic weapon is not surprising in Huanhai, but it is made by the refining master of Hunyuan Palace, which is equivalent to a gold-plated existence. Seeing this Zhuxiantu Divine Sword, Liu Zilin was immediately moved. It can increase the power by 10%, and it is also wood attributed. This is too suitable for her spiritual roots. Not only her, but Chen Qingyun also became interested and took a picture first. I'll bid you keep the spirit stones to buy the void crystal. Liu Zilin transmitted a message, and then did not rush to bid, to see how much the others would bid. Several giant and cultivators who specialized in wood-attributed techniques began to join the bidding. In just a moment, the price of this Zhuxiantu Divine Sword was pushed to 2.55 million. Liu Zilin saw the opportunity and participated in a bidding, and then an old woman giant and cultivator from the Binghai sect followed suit and raised the price by another 1,000 spirit stones. The old woman giant and raised the price, and another elder from the Jiandan family joined the bidding, and there was considerable competition. The appearance of this 4th level magic weapon aroused the enthusiasm of several wood-attributed Jiandan cultivators present, and the price once climbed. In the end, it was added up to 2.66 million spirit stones. During this trip, Liu Zilin prepared a lot of spiritual stones early. The number of spiritual stones on her body reached more than 5 million. And she also had 2 high-grade spiritual stones. Seeing that the bidding price was about the same and there would not be much increase, Liu Zilin took action decisively and finally successfully bought it for 2.69 million. This mysterious sort of black spirit wood finally fell into the hands of Liu Zilin. Others did not take photos of the treasures they wanted, and looked at Liu Zilin with regret, waiting for the treasures behind them to come on stage. A 4th level magic weapon is not considered a rare resource here. There are still good things to come, but many monks have not yet taken action and choose to wait and see. When the 3rd product came on stage, it was an aqua blue bead, the size of an egg. As soon as it appeared, it attracted attention because it contained bright light and a mermaid figure appeared in the bead. 4th level shark bead. The experienced Zaifu monk from the Qingguang sect saw the origin of the bead at a glance and couldn't help but exclaimed, "Haha, the Tao of Qingguang sect is friendly and discerning." Futong smiled lightly and introduced without any ink. This object is the 4th level shark bead. It can assist water attribute Zaifu monks in condensing golden elixirs. It has a 50% chance of forming elixirs. It is an elixir forming treasure that has the same effect as Nuan Yang water jade. This item has a base price of 900,000 spirit stones. Taoists who are interested should not miss it. After the shark's bead was quoted, a strange scene occurred. Unlike the first two items, after He Futan announced the start of the auction, no one actually opened a bid at this time. Chapter 730, Mermaid Pearls Condensed into Pills, Mermaid Clan and number 039:S Public Enemy. Looking at the 4th level Mermaid Pearl on the stage, most of the cultivators present were just watching, and some were whispering to each other. Having fought against the evil mermaid before, Chen Qingyun knew what a mermaid pearl was. This thing can only be produced by the mermaids, and outsiders cannot imitate it. A mermaid pearl can assist water-attributed cultivators in their practice and increase the benefits of their practice. This is not a rare item, and one can be bought for 300 spirit stones. However, compared with this 4th level mermaid pearl, the mermaid pearls known before have no grade distinction, and are obviously common goods. Now this 4th level mermaid pearl appears, and it can also have a 50% chance of assisting in forming a pill. Such a good treasure is in front of them, and there are so many purple mansion cultivators on the scene, but they are not tempted, which is very strange. When Chen Qingyun was puzzled, the sound of cultivators talking in a low voice came from his side. 50% chance of forming a pill. It's good if it succeeds, but if it fails, it will be directly backlashed and killed. Alas, what a pity, not to mention the 50% chance. Even if you have the money to buy this mermaid pearl, you won't be able to enjoy it. I'm afraid it will cause trouble for yourself in the future. It's really a pity. Several people were talking in a low voice, and there were also family cultivators who explained the disadvantages of this 4th level mermaid pearl to the younger generation. Chen Qingyun listened carefully and soon understood. It turned out that this 4th level mermaid pearl had a good origin. It was the natal danshan of the golden elixir mermaid. Because of its special material, it contains the essence of mermaids, and there is a 50% chance that it can assist water-attributed cultivators in forming a pill. As for the other 50% risk, if the pill fails, it will be backlashed and killed. As for the result of success, there is no way to erase the mermaid spirit in the current cultivation world, which will accompany the user for life. In this way, the mermaids will undoubtedly track them down and leave them nowhere to hide. A fellow tribesman at the Jiandan level is a core member in any tribe, let alone in the inner sea. The mermaids attach great importance to their own Jiandan. In order to prevent human cultivators from slaughtering their fellow tribesmen Jiandan to obtain the mermaids in order to find a shortcut to Dan, a consensus has been reached long ago. That is, any human cultivator who forms Dan with the 4th level mermaid pearl will be directly put on the mermaids killing list once discovered. Even if they are chased to the ends of the earth, they must be killed and never tolerated. This is naturally done to protect the interests of the tribe and deter human cultivators from trying to form Dan with the 4th level mermaid pearl. So, in summary, this 4th level mermaid pearl is a good thing. On the basis of taking a 50% chance of Dan formation, it depends on whether you have the life to spend and the courage to be an enemy of the entire mermaid tribe. The mermaids have many methods, and there are many ways to track the mermaid aura in the pearl. Even a Yuanying cultivator cannot completely wipe out this aura. To form a pill with this mermaid pearl, you will bear the risk of becoming the public enemy of the mermaids, and face the pursuit of the Yuanying stage mermaids of the tribe, or even the Shenhua stage mermaids. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. A cultivator shook his head and sighed, feeling extremely daunted. The Huanhai cultivators present all knew the pros and cons of this 4th level mermaid pearl, and none of them had the intention to bid. If this was not Qianxing City, with the protection of the 3 sects, it is estimated that when they saw this 4th level mermaid pearl, they would have immediately retreated far away, not wanting to be affected. Noticing that everyone's reaction was expected, He Futang showed a serious look and spoke slowly. Everyone, although using this speed to form a pill will put us on the opposite side of the entire mermaid race, we have been fighting with the mermaid race for a long time, and the grudges have long been irreconcilable. What does it matter if we have more hatred? Besides, the mermaid race dare not go deep into our heartland. Even if they stay on Qingguang Island, they don't have the courage to come here to kill us. You all know the pros and cons of this. There is only one of this item. Fellow Taoists who are interested, don't miss this opportunity. In my opinion, instead of worrying about the cause and effect of the grudges, it is better to improve the current strength. As soon as the voice fell, He Futong smiled again, intentionally or unintentionally sweeping over several family cultivators present. These family cultivators are currently in the Purple Mansion stage, and the families behind them are still at the Purple Mansion level. In recent years, they have been preparing to impact the Golden Core family. This look of He Futong is very meaningful. Instantly, the Purple Mansion cultivators of the family looked thoughtful, thinking about the pros and cons here. They were thinking whether to take this opportunity to train a Golden Core cultivator for the family. After a short silence, some people still made bids, thinking that since there was the protection of the Thousand-Star Island, it would not be so dangerous as long as they did not go out and run around. If they were really scared, they could stay away from the Fantasy Sea and live in other seas. With the first bid, the calm was broken, and soon several people followed up. Chen Qingyun noticed that some of these bidders were old Purple Mansion cultivators, and it was obvious why they did so. In order to prolong life, they would not hesitate to obtain the Dan, even if the method was a little extreme, which was better than waiting to sit and die. The other part was the family cultivators. The benefits of having a Golden Core cultivator and the family are needless to say. Rather than worrying about foreign enemies all the time, it is better to improve strength, because everyone is an enemy. Some powerful enemies are more terrifying than the mermaids. The auction of this mermaid pearl did not take long, and a total of 6 monks participated. Thinking of the fact that there was a golden elixir in the family and the method of forming elixir with monster resources, Chen Qingyun was not interested in this mermaid pearl at all. You can't do such a thing as planting hidden dangers for the family. In less than an incense stick of time, this 4th level mermaid pearl was finally bought by a white-haired old man for 920,000 spirit stones. Compared with the starting price of 1 million warm sun water jade, it is very rare to sell it at this price because of the side effects. Which cultivator present is not a shrewd person? Weighing the pros and cons can be said to be clear in mind. From the escape sky order, to the mysterious wood sword, and then to the 4th level mermaid pearl. The next 4th item is 10 foundation building pills, which will be auctioned at one time. The market price of the foundation building pills in Huanhai is also 10,000 spirit stones each, and there are many channels to purchase them, which is much easier to purchase than in Xinghai. Since the Wanbao conference is using the foundation building pills to liven up the atmosphere this time, it is distributed as a welfare. The starting price of these 10 foundation building pills was set at 80,000 spirit stones, which was equivalent to buying 8 and getting 2 free. The price was very affordable, which immediately attracted many enthusiastic highs, and the atmosphere was high. Most of the cultivators present had ways to obtain foundation building pills. Some casual cultivators would not spend spirit stones on buying foundation building pills because they were alone. Therefore, the bidders at this moment were basically family cultivators who came to supplement their family's foundation. Chapter 731 Dragon Blood Stone, Sea Dragon Abyss. Zhang Zhen had good luck in the field yesterday. He bargained with a female cultivator of the Ice Sea sect for a fire pattern Ganoderma lucidum and exchanged it for a foundation building pill. For peace of mind, the authenticity of this foundation building pill was verified on the spot at the testing center. With a foundation building pill in hand, Zhang Zhen set his sights on the Chongyuan pill as a heritage for the future establishment of the family. So even if he was tempted now, he refrained from bidding. Considering that the family has developed rapidly and can now produce foundation building pills on its own, Chen Qingyun has no intention of exchanging. In less than an incense stick of time, the price of these 10 foundation building pills continued to rise and has exceeded 90,000 spirit stones. More than a dozen family cultivators participated in the competition, and they did not raise the price at will. After all, this thing is not scarce, and you can buy a few outside. The reason for bidding here is that the price is affordable. When the price reached 93, Oh, spirit stones, a family cultivator couldn't help but complain. That's enough, that's enough. If you raise the price again, what kind of cost-effectiveness can you say? You have a lot of money, you can buy it happily. I won't argue with you. You really piss me off. If you raise the price again, it will go to 100,000 spirit stones. As soon as these words came out, everyone's attention was attracted, but no one took them seriously. A family cultivator from the Five Dragons Island in the Illusion Sea laughed and said, "Old he, why don't you stay in your Black Turtle Islands and fight with us for 10 foundation building pills? It's not worth it to ruin your health." These words made the tense auction atmosphere reveal a bit of relaxed and lively atmosphere. "Hey, old," he snorted, and looked back at the man with a look of puffing his beard and glaring. "What do you care?" After that, old he did not play by the rules and raised his hand directly to raise the price. "Old man, I'll offer 94,000 spirit stones." HMPH, you're so funny. The new Long Island family cultivator shouted out when he heard this. "You, old sly fellow, I knew it. I almost believed your lies." These family cultivators continued to bid. No one gave in. After a few rounds, when the price reached 99,000 spirit stones, the 10 foundation building pills had an owner and fell into the hands of a cultivator from the Long family. Long family of Donglin Island, how come this batch of foundation building pills fell into the hands of you Donglin Island cultivators again? You really have no morals, and you don't know how to let us go. This made old he jealous, and he couldn't help but blow his beard and glare. "Old he, what's the matter? If you are not willing, why don't you wait until this auction is over, and I will sell these foundation building pills to you at the price of 100,000 spirit stones." The Long family cultivator said with a fake smile, with a teasing tone in his tone. Old he snorted, turned his head aside and ignored it. Just treat the other party's words as a joke. Only a fool would sell 10 foundation building pills for 100,000 spirit stones. According to the rules of the Wanbao Conference, it is not allowed to resell the auction pill resources to others at a higher price within 5 years to prevent scalpers. The auction of the foundation building pill has come to an end, and everyone is secretly looking forward to the subsequent treasures. Time flies, and it's afternoon in a blink of an eye. Most of the goods on the first day are magic tools, all from the hands of Hunyuan Palace. During this period, Chen Qingyun participated in an auction and was quickly bid up, just to join in the fun. As for magic tools, Chen Qingyun didn't have to buy them here. If it was a broken magic tool or something, he would be interested. When the 16th item came on stage, 5 purple mansion crystals appeared, divided into 5 auctions, with a reserve price of 90,000 spirit stones, which attracted a group of family cultivators to scramble for it. Like the foundation building pill, as a strategic resource, these 5 purple mansion crystals soon fell into the hands of 5 cultivators, with a premium of 1 to 2,000 spirit stones, which was in a reasonable price range. The treasures that appeared later were also dazzling, including some refining ores, spiritual herbs, and spirit talisman puppets. Among them, a 4th level thunder attribute magic weapon, called the Thunderstorm Hammer, appeared. It was bought by Alwohuzi and was prepared to be used to deal with ghost cultivators and explore the remains of the 5 elements sect in the future. The first day of the auction ended quickly and entered a short break. Some cultivators left the venue, and some late cultivators entered. An hour later, the auction continued. This time, the king's sect appeared and sent a new host. At the beginning, he took out a dragon bloodstone and detonated the whole venue. This dragon bloodstone was bred by the blood of a 5th level dragon and belongs to a 5th level ore. As long as it is worn on the body, it has the effect of strengthening the cultivator's chi and blood, achieving the effect of prolonging life. In addition, dragon bloodstone is also a superior material for refining spiritual treasures, and it is an extremely scarce resource. According to the host, the origin of this dragon bloodstone is clear, and it is a product of Hunyuan. Hunyuan is located in the southernmost part of the Fantasy Sea. There is a deep sea bed abyss there, It is the deepest area of the fantasy sea. It is named after the sea dragon beasts living there. More than 1,000 years ago, Heilongyuan was a place of confrontation, and a huge battle between the human race and the demon race broke out. In that battle, a 5th-level purple blood dragon was killed in Heilongyuan, and the Yuan ore on the seabed was contaminated by the dragon blood, and eventually gradually mutated into dragon blood stone. At present, this Heilongyuan is under the joint jurisdiction of the 3 sects and is not open to the public. Occasionally, a few dragon blood stones are mined. This time, in order to further promote the reputation of the Wanbao Conference, the 3 sects decided to take out the dragon blood stone for auction. The price of the dragon blood stone, which was priced at 3 million, soared to 3.25 million spiritual stones as soon as it was put on the market. Luohuzi, Zhong Shiling, and a group of giant and cultivators all participated in the auction crazily. Because of their limited wealth, those Purple Mansion cultivators could only stare in envy and regret not preparing more spiritual stones. Chen Qingyun and the other 2 were interested in treasures like Dragon Blood Stone, and naturally did not want to miss it. Chen Qingyun participated in the bidding, and after some negotiations, he auctioned it to a high price of 3.5 million, which once discouraged several bidders. This was only the opening of the second day of the auction. Considering that there might be better things later and the target they were looking at had not yet appeared, most competitors could only grit their teeth and stop. After dozens of rounds of competition, in the end, under the indignant eyes of a giant and cultivator from Pyongyang Blood Sea, Chen Qingyun unsuccessfully bid for the Dragon Blood Stone, and the price had reached 3.643 million spiritual stones at this time. Unlike most people here, Chen Qingyun has a lot of spiritual stones, including some of the best. This time, he bought the Dragon Blood Stone. Chen Qingyun did not participate in the subsequent dozen treasures, waiting for the appearance of the Void Crystal. According to the information obtained in advance, the Void Crystal is the property of the Binghai sect. At each Wanbao conference, more than a dozen will be auctioned. This time, it will definitely appear at the auction. Chapter 732, Yuanying is strange, secretly paying attention. The 3 sects in Huanhai have their own strengths. In addition to the rich heritage of refining equipment, they all have their own characteristics. Huanyuan Palace is well developed in talisman making and is in a leading position. The sect is full of female cultivators, which are easy to identify. Talented talisman makers like Liu Zilin are the most popular. Qingsu sect's alchemy skills are better than the other 2 sects. It is the largest alchemy sect in Huanhai and has rich experience in spiritual medicine cultivation. When Huanhai monks buy elixirs, they will first choose Qingsu sect, which is a golden signboard. Binghai sect is good at formations. The teleportation formation in Huanhai was created by them. When they took over the construction of the teleportation formation, they kept the core part strictly confidential. In order of appearance, the auctions in these 3 days are Huanyuan Palace, Qingsu sect, and Binghai sect. Huanyuan Palace hosted the auction for 1 day, and Qingsu sect came on stage next, showing good sincerity. The Dragon Blood Stone was used as the opening, and then 3 golden elixirs were auctioned. This immediately caused the excitement of all the Purple Mansion cultivators. After the auction was bid up more than a dozen times, the 3 golden cores were bought by the 3 Purple Mansion cultivators with excitement. After the golden core was auctioned, the climax continued. The treasures brought out by the Qingsu sect were even more powerful. They actually brought out a 5th-level pill. This pill is called the Infant Pill. The effect is that after the golden core cultivator takes it, he can exert the power of the infant once, and the power is equivalent to the full force of the infant cultivator in the early stage of the infant. It should be noted that after this attack is performed, the user will enter a weak period, and the combat power is not as good as that of a chi refining cultivator. Therefore, this infant pill has a great restriction on use. It belongs to either not using it or killing the enemy with 1 blow. Even so, it is enough to become a powerful killer, which attracted more than 30 golden core cultivators present to participate in the auction. This item is a treasure that the Purple Mansion cultivators can't use and the infant cultivators look down on. Chen Qingyun and the other 2 have no intention of taking action. According to Chen Qingyun's current strength, He can make his own talisman. With his own refining skills and Yuanying magic power, the power of the talisman produced is not necessarily inferior to that of the infant pill, and there are not so many side effects. The only thing that takes a lot of time and energy is that it takes a lot of time and energy. The production of the infant level talisman is a loss for the infant cultivator. After the infant pill fell into the hands of a cultivator from the Huanhai family, the Qingyun pill finally appeared. There were a total of 12 pills, which were auctioned in 6 batches. This pill works best when taken with 2 pills. It will not work when the 3rd pill is taken. Zhongzhen has been looking forward to this Qingyun pill for a long time. Other treasures either want to buy them, do not have enough spirit stones on them, or are reluctant to spend them. Good steel is spent on the blade. Looking at the Qingyun pill on a stage, Zhongzhen's eyes lit up, and he immediately made several consecutive bids. In the case of almost emptying his family's funds, he successfully bought a Qingyun pill. Chen Qingyun saw the opportunity and also wanted to bid, preparing to bid for 2 Qingyun pills for King Luan to take, to see if he could reach the late stage of Zaifu. Just as he had this idea, he heard a crisp voice beside him. 35,000 spirit stones. King Luan was also very interested in this Qingyun pill, and took the initiative to participate in the auction. 2 Qingyun pills were set, and the reserve price was 55,000 spirit stones. Like the foundation building pill, it was extremely rare and used several precious 5th-level spirit medicines. Only the Qingxu sect could refine it, so the price was far higher than other 4th-level pills. Even so, Qingyun pill was hard to find. Even if it was sold at a price of 80,000 or 90,000, there were still many Zaifu cultivators willing to pay for it. Thinking that his sister had grown up and had her own opinions and ideas, and had been trained outside for these years and accumulated a lot of spirit stones, Chen Qingyun let her start the auction. The competition for this Qingyun pill was particularly fierce. Chen Qingluan bid twice, and there were still people competing. When Chen Qingluan bid for the 3rd time, Chen Qingyun and the other 2 did not notice that among the nascent soul cultivators around the stage, Fairy Qinyu from Huanyuan Palace was staring at Chen Qingluan with some doubts. After hearing Chen Qingluan speak 3 times, Fairy Qinyu was attracted the first time, but was uncertain the 2nd time. When she heard Chen Qingluan's voice for the 3rd time, her heart finally trembled and it was difficult to calm down. She secretly paid attention and looked at Chen Qingluan carefully. The more she looked, the more she felt familiar. She immediately took out the communication talisman and sent a message to her senior sister. Chen Qingyun and the other 2 focused on Qingyun Dan and did not notice Fairy Qinyu's actions, so how could they pay attention to the actions of such a strange nascent soul cultivator? On the contrary, a nascent soul cultivator from Jai was very perceptive. Because there was no treasure of interest for the time being, he was paying attention to the actions of some cultivators present. This person is called Zhu Beiqing. He has practiced in the Sea of Boundaries for more than 600 years. His cultivation has reached the early stage of the nascent soul. He has more than a dozen disciples and lives on a spiritual island. This time he came to the Wanbao conference to find a panacea that can break through the realm in order to prepare for future treasure hunting trips. The surprise on Fairy Qinyu's face attracted Zhu Beiqing's attention. As a casual cultivator, Zhu Beiqing's scheming, aptitude, and intelligence naturally need not be said. He must be top-notch, and he is not an ordinary person. Noticing the strangeness of Fairy Qinyu, she followed her gaze and looked at Chen Qingluan, but did not see anything. She just thought that Chen Qingluan had achieved good results and had reached the middle stage of the Purple Mansion. Besides this, what else was there that could move a Yuanying cultivator like Fairy Qinyu and make her look strange? An old friend? When this thought came to her mind, Fairy Qinyu temporarily left the scene, as if she was going to do something, which made her even more curious. Chen Qingyun and the other 2 were unaware of the actions of the 2 Yuanying cultivators in the field. When the price of Qingyun pill reached 69,000 spirit stones, Chen Qingluan finally succeeded in bidding. Next, the whole morning was almost dominated by pills. In the afternoon, some spirit liquid began to appear. The appearance of a bottle of 1,000-year-old spirit milk pushed the atmosphere to a climax again, triggering many giant cultivators to bid. and even attracted two Yuanying cultivators to bid. These two Yuanying cultivators, one is the Thousand-Star Elder, and the other is the Jiang Master who guards the Thousand-Star Island of the Icy Sect. The two Yuanying cultivators were rich and powerful, and they raised the price as soon as they bid, forcing other participants to give up. After the two big guys competed for a while, the bottle of 1,000-year-old spiritual milk was won by Elder Qiangxing. Master Jiang considered that it would be difficult to have a conflict with Elder Qiangxing. From the perspective of the sect, he could only make appropriate concessions, and at the same time, he did not forget to congratulate, showing his own style. This auction of 1,000-year-old spiritual milk not only caused a sensation in the audience, but also became a topic of discussion after it was spread. Chapter 733 Ju Baking, Void Crystal. The auction lasted until the evening, and more than 20 kinds of elixirs appeared, ranging from the 2nd to the 5th level, each with its own characteristics, covering the foundation building stage to the golden elixir stage. The most anticipated elixir-forming spiritual objects of the Purple Mansion cultivators were 3 bottles of wood spirit water, which were quickly sold out and were very popular. Chen Qingyun waited patiently, and on the 3rd day, he finally waited for the Icy Sect to appear. As before, the host sent by the Icy Sect replaced the stage and took out the treasure. As expected of a formation sect, the opening was a set of 4th-level island protection formation, which attracted the interest of many family cultivators. These family cultivators came for the formation, and they wanted to contribute to the construction of the family and purchase formations, so they all became interested. Chen Qingyun had no idea of purchasing formations. Not only did he not need to worry about this, but the family would do it well. And even if there was a need for formations, low-level formations could be cooperated with the Zhang family of Chu Island. For high-level formations, Bai Yuning could be invited to build them, and there was no need to spend more time on them. So in the following, several sets of formations appeared one after another, and Chen Qingyun did not participate in the bidding. The bidders were mainly from the immortal cultivation families and some forces outside the Fantasy Sea. The cultivators of the Fantasy Moon Palace and the Qingxi sect had no intention of purchasing from the Binghai sect unless they encountered a small formation suitable for personal combat. Otherwise, once it came to a large formation, they had no intention of purchasing from the Binghai sect. The reason for this was out of precaution. The 3 sects now seemed to be in harmony and could cooperate with each other and share honor and disgrace as the Wanbao Conference. In other aspects, the struggle has been going on, and they will always be on guard against each other. The Fantasy Moon Palace and the Qingxi sect would naturally not let their competitors build such a large formation involving the safety of the sect, so that the other party would grasp the flaws and make the formation useless. After waiting patiently for several hours, items appeared on the stage one by one, and no one was missed. Even the most unpopular set of 3rd-level enemy trapping formations made several Purple Mansion cultivators compete for more than 10 rounds. After obtaining Chongyun Pill, Chen Qingyun and the other 2 temporarily waited and watched, waiting for the appearance of the void crystal. 2 figures entered the inner field at this time, one of whom was Fairy Qinyu who had temporarily left earlier. The other person was also a nascent soul cultivator from Hunyuan Palace. The sudden appearance of a nascent soul cultivator from Hunyuan Palace attracted the attention of Shui Gong Shui Po, Zhuang Suzi and other nascent soul cultivators, who noticed something unusual. Because in theory, the nascent soul cultivators sent by the 3 sects have already arrived. In the sect, the rest of the nascent soul cultivators were basically unable to get away. Either they needed to guard the sect or sit in other important resource areas. The arrival of a nascent soul cultivator from Hunyuan Palace at the Wanbao Conference naturally caused doubts among other nascent soul old monsters. However, Fairy Qinyu would have guessed this and had taken precautions early on. The fellow disciple she brought with her was named Yu Lingshu, her senior sister, and her cultivation had reached the middle stage of the nascent soul. Both of them are true disciples of the palace master of Hunyuan Palace. They are talented and proficient in alchemy and talisman making. After arriving here, Yu Lingshu followed the guidance of Fairy Qinyu, while guarding against the attention of other nascent soul cultivators. His eyes occasionally fell on Chen Qingyun. Chen Qingyun would never have thought that she would be targeted by two nascent soul cultivators after going on a long journey this time. She still sat obediently beside Chen Qingyun, looking at the stage with a sharp gaze, waiting for the appearance of the void crystal. A set of 4th level formations appeared on the stage, called the Thousand Sounds Illusion Heart Formation, which can release wonderful music that disturbs the enemy's mind. The formation plate is a bell magic weapon. The effect of this formation can cover a radius of 100 miles. Those who are slightly weak in will fall into a state of mental disorder when they hear the formation illusion sound, and thus become lambs to be slaughtered. Liu Zilin was somewhat interested in this formation, and finally successfully bid for it at a price of 360,000 spirit stones, exceeding the reserve price of 120,000 spirit stones. After the Qianyan Huaxin formation, the long-awaited void crystals finally appeared. There were a total of 16 pieces, and the starting price was 100,000 spirit stones per piece. The next 15 pieces of void crystals were priced according to the final transaction price of the first piece, and they could also be purchased at a higher price. 100,000 for a 4th level void crystal. This Bing Hai sect is really bold to offer a price. After learning the price of the void crystal, Liu Zilin couldn't help but say that she felt that the price was too expensive. According to the market price, the 4th level spiritual ore will not exceed 30,000 spirit stones at most, and the lowest is 4,000 spirit stones. For example, the price of the 4th level void stone in Lingbao Mountain is about 12,000 per piece. As a 4th level to 5th level spiritual ore, the price of this void crystal is so much higher, and Chen Qingyun also frowned slightly. However, this void crystal is monopolized by the Bing Hai sect, and the output is very low. It is good to be able to take it out for auction. If you think it is expensive, you can choose not to buy it. Bing Hai sect has a little intention of not cheating the poor. There were several cultivators waiting for the void crystals, who had long been accustomed to this price and began to bid without hesitation. This caused the price of the void crystals to continue to rise, reaching 120,000 spirit stones, and all the giant and cultivators participated in it. Chen Qingyun was not afraid of being suspected at all, even if he was targeted by a Yuanying cultivator. After waiting for a while, he began to bid. As the price increased, Chen Qingyun bid several times, and finally there were only 2 people left to compete. One was a middle-aged female giant and cultivator from Biomia Blood Sea, and the other was a demon cultivator elder from Tongshan Demon Sea. The cultivator from the Misty Blood Sea raised the price by 2,000 again, seeing that Chen Qingyun was determined to win. He showed an attitude of being rich and powerful, and a purple light flashed in his eyes. She unfolded the spiritual light technique and couldn't help but look at Chen Qingyun a few more times, wanting to see what was so extraordinary about him. When she noticed that Chen Qingyun's aura was restrained and she couldn't detect his depth, she set her sights on Liu Zilin and Chen Qingyun on the left and right sides of Chen Qingyun. These 2 inspections immediately made her eyes flash with a hint of surprise. Especially when she looked at Chen Qingyun twice, she was even more shocked, as if she had seen something extraordinary. She thought about it, stopped competing, stopped bidding, and withdrew. At the same time, the demon cultivator elder looked at Chen Qingyun fiercely with a warning in his eyes. Chen Qingyun chose to ignore the other party's intimidating warning and responded coldly. This invisible confrontation between the two was seen by many cultivators present, and attracted the attention of Elder Qiangxing, Shuigong and Shuipo, and several other nascent soul cultivators. Fellow Taoist Chen, this guy is a demon cultivator from the Tongshan Demon Sea, with a peak giant and cultivation level, named Ji Wu, who is the most selfish and petty person. Most giant and cultivators don't want to offend him. Luo Huzi kindly reminded him and told him the other party's origins. Chapter 734 Small Teleportation Array. As a cultivator of the Wanyao Sea, Luo Huzi has a wide network of contacts and has also made many enemies. Among them are many cultivators of the Tongshan Demon Sea, so he knows many giant and cultivators of the Tongshan Demon Sea. At the peak of the Jiandan, you are against me? Chen Qingyun released his divine sense and detected Ji Wu's cultivation. Originally, he thought that the reason why Ji Wu was fearless and dared to show hostility blatantly at the Wanbao conference was probably because he was at the nascent soul stage. There were so many cultivators coming and going, and Chen Qingyun did not pay attention to each of them to see who was stronger and who was weaker. Under the eyes of several nascent soul cultivators, exposing the nascent soul divine sense many times would inevitably attract attention, so he should keep a low profile. He tried his best to restrain himself, but in the fair competition for the void crystal, he still attracted this attitude from the other party. Did he really think he was easy to bully? Chen Qingyun glanced at Ji Wu coldly, and was about to reply to Luohuzi that he was not afraid of this demon cultivator from the Tongshan demon seed. At this time, Luohuzi's words came first. But, don't worry, fellow Taoist Chen, you and I will have to work together in the future, and we need to rely on your magical powers. If Ji Wu insists on going against you, Luo is not made of mud, and will definitely stand on your side. Don't worry, my wife and I will join forces to have a 70% chance of killing this guy. What's more, there is you, fellow Taoist Chen, and your giant and stage Taoist partner. We have nothing to fear. Luohuzi's voice transmission came quietly, his tone was extremely serious, and he chose to support Chen Qingyun. Thank you, fellow Taoist Luo. Chen Qingyun responded, and he didn't expect that Luohuzi, who had not been in contact for a long time and was not too familiar with him, actually had such a righteous side. Whether Luohuzi was cooperating for interests or for other reasons, at least he was willing to stand up and deserve praise. Seeing Ji Wu raise the price by 1,000 spirit stones again, Chen Qingyun did not give in and also raised the price by 1,000. This action immediately made Ji Wu frown, staring at Chen Qingyun fiercely, and asked in public, "Boy, you are quite courageous, which cultivator are you from?" Facing Ji Wu's question, Chen Qingyun completely ignored it and waited for someone else to bid. Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin beside him glanced at Ji Wu coldly, not afraid of the other party's intimidation at all. Many cultivators present were old foxes, especially several Yuanying old monsters. How could they not understand the gunpowder smell here? In order to maintain the atmosphere and avoid a bigger gunpowder smell, Zhuang Suzi of King's sect was ready to remind Ji Wu not to make mistakes. At this time, Fairy Qinyu, who had kept silent and had been secretly paying attention to Chen Qingyun, spoke first. This transaction is based on fairness, and the highest bidder wins. Some people should not try to bully others and disrupt the order, otherwise don't blame the flying swords of our three sects for being ruthless. The warning from Fairy Qinyu instantly made Ji Wu grit his teeth secretly, and he was afraid, not daring to offend Fairy Qinyu at all. He twitched the muscles on his face and stopped competing with Chen Qingyun. He could only be a turtle and put his eyes on the void crystal behind him. With Fairy Qinyu's appearance, many people present saw that the order of the Wanbao conference was unshakable. A small number of cultivators who originally wanted to bully others by taking advantage of their power suppressed this idea at this moment, so as not to damage their own reputation and be pulled out to warn and lose face. This first void crystal finally fell into Chen Qingyun's pocket at a price of 132,000. Then came the second and third pieces. Ji Wu and other cultivators followed the auction, and in less than an hour, these void crystals were divided up. After bidding for the target item, Ji Wu glanced at Chen Qingyun with malicious intent, and did not dare to stay here for long, lest he be killed. As a warning to the three sects. He immediately packed up, took the void crystal and left the inner field. At the same time that Ji Wu left, two immortal cultivators from Penglai Immortal Realm set off together and followed Ji Wu's footsteps. The auction continued, and Binghai sect was generous and began to auction a set of teleportation arrays. This is a short-distance teleportation array, with a total of 2, which can teleport a maximum of 100,000 miles apart. This teleportation distance may not seem long, but it has attracted many families and foreign sects to compete for the auction. As a family cultivator, Chen Qingyun also thought that this array could quickly connect several resource areas of the family, and it was very practical. so he also participated in the auction. The teleportation distance of 100,000 miles can be arranged between Zhenhai Island and Linjian Island, which is convenient for travel and greatly saves travel time. The appearance of this teleportation array made the atmosphere even more heated. Each time the price was raised, it increased from 1,000 to 3,000, 5,000. And it was no longer a slow process. Some of the cultivators present had been gathering their strength, and had long since learned through their connections that the IC sect would sell a teleportation array, and were ready to do something big, just waiting for this moment. More than a dozen giant cultivators who had not bid before could not hold back and joined the fierce competition. After dozens of rounds of bidding, when there were only 2 people left, 2 Yuanying cultivators began to bid. If they did not bid, it would be fine, but once they did, it shocked the whole audience. A Yuanying cultivator from the JIC, who had not shown his talent before, was one of the only 3 foreign Yuanying cultivators present. This time, this person directly raised the price by 100,000, pushing the price of this teleportation array to 5.51 million. This is not the end. The uproar of the price increase has not stopped. The other nascent soul cultivator is Zhuxiantu. She saw the opportunity and made a more generous bid, directly bidding a whole number of 6 million. After seeing the amazing background of the nascent soul cultivator, the 2 people who were originally bidding with Chen Qingyun realized that although their giant stage cultivation was not bad, they could be regarded as a few strong people present. But in front of the nascent soul cultivator, they can only be regarded as ants and cannot be compared. With these 2 nascent soul masters involved, let alone what the highest price can be accepted, it is absolutely not worth it to offend such a powerful person. No matter how important the teleportation array is, it is far less important than their own safety. These 2 giant cultivators can only give up and stop talking. Seeing that the price reached 6 million. Chen Qingyun felt that this price was not worth it. Rather than offending the nascent soul cultivators here and letting someone with ulterior motives target him, it would be more reliable to go back to Xingzong for cooperation. This competition eventually became a confrontation between 2 nascent soul cultivators. When Xuangsuzi, Shui Gong and Shui Po saw this, even though they sensed that the atmosphere was not right, Zhuxiantu and the others wanted to intimidate others from bidding. But considering that the nascent soul cultivators were majestic and high above, they did not say anything and chose to turn a blind eye. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 735 Green Oriole, Purple Eyes. In just a moment, with many envious eyes, this teleportation array fell into the hands of Zhuxiantu for a price of 7 million spiritual stones. More than 20 sets of formations appeared in the auction on the next day. The teleportation formation did not appear again, only the one from the opening. During this period, Zhang Zhen left because he bought what he wanted and had no extra spiritual stones on him, and he couldn't wait to practice in seclusion. For him, it was better not to look at the subsequent treasures, but after looking at them, he would easily become jealous and miss them, which would make him out of sight and out of mind. After saying goodbye to Chen Qingyun, Zhang Zhen left the Wanbao conference and returned to the rental cave alone for retreat. Chen Qingyun really gained a lot of experience this time when he witnessed the all-encompassing formations produced by Binghai sect with many types. The minimum is a 3rd level formation, and the highest is a 5th level formation, including installation and layout. In the next 10 years, the maintenance of the formation will also be taken over, and the IC sect indeed has a large-scale style. The family has no shortage of formation skills, and the bidding here is very fierce. Chen Qingyun occasionally bids a few times, but the rest of the time he is in a wait-and-see state. This time, the void crystal was successfully photographed. According to Liu Zilin's estimation, 3 teleportation orders could be refined. Chen Qingyun decided not to stay any longer. When the auction came to an end, seeing the last set of 4th order formations coming on stage, Chen Qingyun decided that he was not interested, So Chen Qingyun led the two of them out of the venue. At the exit of the conference, the three of them handed over the Wanbaoing at the counter in accordance with the rules, and then were allowed to leave the Wanbao conference. As the three of them left, Fairy Kanaiu and Yu Lingshu followed closely behind, watching and looking for opportunities to make contact. I don't know if it's because of the insurance purchased or because the monks from the three sects are too enthusiastic. As soon as Chen Qingyun and the others left the 10,000 Treasures conference, 6 Hunyuan Palace disciples took the initiative to greet them. Their cultivation levels were all at the Purple Mansion stage. After a brief conversation, these Hunyuan Palace monks told them that as long as they went to any place within the Huanhai within the next month, they could escort them all the way for free. Seeing the enthusiasm of the monks from Hunyuan Palace, Chen Qingyun didn't think much and just wanted to return to Xinghai as soon as possible. He didn't know much about this sect. To be on the safe side, Chen Qingyun did not intend to accept Hunyuan Palace's kindness to avoid being tricked. When you go out and carry dragon blood stones, void crystals and other treasures with you, you'd better be careful. Rejecting Hunyuan Palace's kindness, these Hunyuan Palace monks responded politely and instead presented a god-avoiding bead. The effect of this bead is very good. It can shield the spiritual consciousness of monks at the golden core stage and below, and achieve the effect of becoming invisible in the spiritual consciousness. After accepting the god-avoiding pearl and bidding farewell to the monks of Hunyuan Palace, after Chen Qingyun and the others left Kaianxing Island, three figures emerged from the crowd, each revealing their appearance. One of the leaders was an offshore monk at the peak of the golden core stage. If Chen Qingyun were here, he would definitely recognize that the other party was the two beautiful monks who had bid for the void crystal together with Ji Wu. At this moment, the beautiful female monk stretched out her hand and recalled a green bird that had just landed near Chen Qingyun and others talking. This bird is called the Green Oriole, a first-order high-grade spiritual beast. It has no attack power or defense power, but it has two very impressive talents. One is proficient in human language and has a natural advantage in understanding human language. The other is that it can automatically change the color of its feathers. It is as magical as a chameleon. It is very good at disguising itself as other birds, taking over the magpie's nest and fishing in troubled waters. With this talent, and the green oriole being small and good at hiding, it is often used in a reconnaissance role to eavesdrop on conversations of target opponents. After falling into the hands of its owner, the green oriole conveyed what it heard to the three middle-aged beautiful women. This golden elixir beauty is named Ranzinsi. She is not a local monk, but comes from the POMLC of blood and is an elder of an immortal sect there. Ranzin has a reputation as a compassionate disciple, but his behavior is completely the opposite. He is known for being ruthless and ruthless. Knowing what the green oriole had overheard, Ranzinsi raised a smile, nodded with satisfaction, and put the spirit pet back into the spirit animal bag. Previously, when competing with Chen Qingyun at the Wanbao conference, she used her purple eyes to spy out Chen Qingluan's qualifications. Not only did she discover that Chen Qingluan had a water-attributed heavenly spirit root. Moreover, it is actually an extremely rare innate Tao body. This discovery instantly shocked and surprised her, and she realized that she had finally found the Taoist body that suited her. This Wanbao conference group originally wanted to find some high-level elixirs to heal their injuries. The result was not as expected. Although the goal has not been achieved, new discoveries have been made. With the ultimate qualifications of Tanling root and innate Tao body, as long as the body is successfully seized, the rewards can be imagined. The previous injuries were easily resolved. Beside Ranzinsi, a man and a woman spoke one after another at this moment. These three ignorant young men from outside the country actually refused the escort from Hunyuan Palace. Now they are really seeking their own death. No wonder we are unethical. The men spoke. This man is Ranzinsi's second disciple, named Zhuxiantu. His cultivation is at the peak of the Zaifu. He is at the bottom among the three, but he has no intention of restraining himself and has nothing to say. Looking at their behavior, although they don't seem to be Huanhai monks, this is the territory of the three sects after all. If we take action at this time and break the rules of the three sects, if the three sects know. Another female cultivator said, Her name is Wang Pei. She has a slightly pretty appearance. She is not tall, only about 1.56 meters. She is a relatively petite type. This person is the eldest disciple, and her cultivation has reached the early stage of the golden core. As soon as she finished speaking, Dao Cheng retorted, "There are so many cultivators participating in the Wanbao conference this time. It can be said that there are a lot of people. How can the three sects have so much thought to protect everyone?" Wang Pei ignored Zhao Cheng, but looked at Ran Xinzi and asked, "Master, what do you mean?" Ran Xinzi pondered in silence, and when he thought of Chen Qingyun's qualifications, he was eager to act, but he did not act blindly, and wanted to observe again. Seeing that the master was silent and seemed to be undecided, Wang Pei said, "Master, you were injured by the ice and fire sword energy of Master Binghuo several years ago, which damaged your Dao meridian and left you with a hidden disease. This has prevented you from making any progress in your cultivation. You can only find precious spiritual essences to heal your injuries. But such spiritual essences are not so easy to find. Which one is not a favorite of heaven and earth? We have gained nothing in the Wanbao conference this time. It seems that we can only find another way." Speaking of this, Wang Pei made a bold guess. "Master, I saw you use the purple eye spirit pupil before. This technique can see through the qualifications of a cultivator. Do you like any of the three people?" Chapter 736, Grandmaster. The origin of this purple-eyed spiritual pupil was that Ran Xinzi got it by chance during a treasure hunt in the Sea of Boundaries. This skill originated from the ancient times and is a product of that era. The effect of the purple-eyed spiritual pupil is one and only one, that is, once the practitioner masters it, he can see the spiritual root qualifications of a cultivator. No matter what special physique the other party has or what kind of spiritual root attribute he has, nothing can escape, and he can see it clearly. Such a powerful skill can see the qualifications of a cultivator without the help of a spirit array, which can be said to be very amazing. It is precisely because of this that Ran Xinzi knows the importance of this and has been hiding it as a means and never leaking it to the outside world. With this means, she can find out the development potential of the enemy. Cultivators with good qualifications and background should be avoided from a distance, not offended or befriended. Those with poor qualifications are naturally fearless, and there is no need to worry about raising a tiger for harm. Ran Xinzi had acquired this method for more than 100 years. It was not until the last 10 years that she revealed the existence of the purple eye spirit pupil in front of Wang Pei and Zhao Cheng, two disciples, because she had the idea of taking over other people's bodies. This has always made Zhao Cheng obsessed and want to obtain this inheritance. In order to strictly keep the secret, Ran Xinzi made the two swear a great oath of the hard demon, not to disclose any information about the purple eye spirit pupil to the outside world. And promised that one day in the future, when she condensed the nascent soul, she would pass this method to Wang Pei and Zhao Cheng. This is what it means to draw a big pie. As a master, there will always be one or two basic methods that are not willing to be passed on. Wang Pei has great observation skills and has long known that the master has always wanted to find a suitable body to take over for the future path. Combined with the current situation, she thought about it for a while and quickly guessed the master's intention. "You are smart. The master has not raised you in vain for so many years. You are much less troublesome than your junior brother." Ran Xinzi glanced at Wang Pei and nodded without concealing anything. These words made Wang Pei happy. When Zhao Cheng heard this, he snorted coldly and said to himself, "You are so smart. If you had a great talent and a natural spiritual root, it would be you that the master would possess. What's the point of flattering such a crooked master?" Zhao Cheng had just finished complaining about Wang Pei when Wang Pei struck while the iron was hot and pretended to be humble, saying, "Master, you are too kind. It's all because of my good teaching." Ran Xinzi smiled and was quite satisfied with this eldest disciple. "Peer, since you have guessed what I am thinking, I am not afraid to tell you. Among the three people, the girl in green has superior talent and her spiritual roots are just right for me. If I can succeed in taking over her body this time, I will be able to relieve my worries in one fell swoop. Such an opportunity has come to my door. It seems that this trip to the fantasy sea has not been in vain. We don't need to work hard to find the spiritual medicine." Hearing the master's admission, Wang Pei's face lit up and he quickly said, "Haha, that's great, master, what are you waiting for?" After speaking, she thought deeply for a while, and immediately thought of something else, frowned and shook her head repeatedly. "No, master, you didn't choose to take action at this time. It seems that this matter needs more consideration. I see that the girl is young, and her cultivation has reached the middle stage of the Purple Mansion. To have such an achievement, she must be of great origin and not an ordinary person. There is a man and a woman beside him. The woman's cultivation is the early stage of the golden core, which is the same as mine. I will use all my strength to deal with her. But I can't see the cultivation of the leading man. It must be above the early stage of the golden core. Master needs to deal with it." "Well, you observe very carefully, it is true," Ran Xinzi said. "Now, only that man has performed some kind of skill to restrain his cultivation. It is hard to guess what his cultivation is. This is why master has not taken action yet." Now, Cheng heard all the conversations between Ran Xinzi and Wang Pei. When he thought of his family's background, he couldn't help but flatter him. "Master, you don't have to hesitate. With your strength, who below the nascent soul stage can be your opponent? Besides, we still have 2 4th-level puppet beasts in our hands, and we can deal with 2 mid-stage giant and cultivators alone. In this way, we are equivalent to having 4 giant and cultivators. My cultivation is only in the Purple Mansion stage, but I can capture the green-clothed girl for you. In this battle, we have the upper hand. Junior brother, you only see the surface. If those 3 people also have the background and means, can you deal with them by then?" Wang Pei asked back, and Zhao Cheng was speechless. "This. Okay, don't argue, let me think about it carefully." Ran Xinzi said. She did not tell Chen Qingyun's specific qualifications, so as not to let the 2 disciples become competitors. Do something to deceive the teacher and destroy the ancestors, and stab them in the back. After quickly weighing the pros and cons, thinking that the opportunity cannot be missed, Ran Xinzi finally decided to take a gamble. Opportunities are rare. If we miss them, we may never encounter them again. Forget it. Those 3 people still have dragon blood stones, void crystals and other treasures. These benefits combined are enough for us to take the risk. As long as the possession is successful, the cat will replace the prince, and the master will become the girl in green. Even if the 3 sects investigate, they will not find out anything. We can completely hide the truth." Ran Xinzi no longer hesitated and called on the 2 disciples to take action. "Listen, when the time comes to take action, you will follow my arrangements. If you disobey me, you will know the consequences." When they thought of their master's punishment system, which ranged from being grounded to digging in cold mines to resist the invasion of the cold air, Wang Pei and the 2 felt a chill in their backs and nodded repeatedly. As these 3 people continued to follow, almost at the same time, they were in a gorgeous business alliance in the central commercial street. Several Huanyuan Palace disciples who had been in contact with Chen Qingyun and the others before were now respectfully reporting the situation to Fairy Huanyuan. After just listening to a few words, Fairy Huanyuan waved her hand, and the disciples of Huanyuan Palace bowed out respectfully. As expected, the 3 of them, headed by that man, all acted according to his wishes. Just now, they faced our active protection and refused directly out of precaution. This approach does not look like they are just starting out. Ling Shu smiled slightly when he learned about the situation, and his consciousness continued to unfold, secretly following the movements of Chen Qingyun and the others. Fairy Huanyuan nodded slightly and said, "Let's not talk about how that man behaves. At least the master is extremely cautious and careful in his actions." After saying that, Fairy Huanyuan looked at her senior sister with a look of anticipation. "Sister, are you sure now that she is the master we have been looking for so long?" Chapter 737 Secret. When the word master was mentioned, the 2 Yuanying monks from Huanyuan Palace showed joy, and at the same time, They also felt respectful in their hearts. The two of them had been secretly paying attention to Chen Qingyun's every move at the Wanbao conference. The more they watched, the more they confirmed their suspicions. So much so that after the Wanbao conference, they planned to have more contact with Chen Qingyun. But Chen Qingyun and the others did not choose to take the treasure ship of Hunyuan Palace out of caution. This put subsequent observations at an impasse. Yu Lingshu said slowly with 78% certainty in his heart. I heard her speak before. Her voice was exactly the same as the master's, and her appearance was also a bit similar. However, her appearance and voice alone are not enough to prove that she is the reincarnation of the master. Fairy Qinyu hummed and said, in terms of time, decades have passed since the reincarnation of the master. The little girl seems to be of the same age. Whether we can finally be sure now, we still need to find out more about her origins. Origin, what kind of experiences have I had in these years? That's how it should be. Yu Lingshu said. Only a few of us know about the reincarnation of our master. This secret must continue to be kept secret, and we must not reveal it to other people in the sect. Ever since that incident, Hunyuan Palace has become less and less like before. You and I are also like Clabo Disassembles crossing the river. We can't protect ourselves. It's better not to cause trouble to the master. Hearing this, Fairy Qinyu said with a solemn look, as the Wanbao conference, the little girl didn't show anything strange when she saw us. It seems that she hasn't recovered her memory yet. It's not a wise move for us to recognize each other at this time. It's better not to disrupt Master's plan. Yes, that's because Master is still in seclusion at the moment. We have been told not to disturb her. We should wait until Master comes out of seclusion and meet the little girl in person. The answer will surely be clear. Fairy Qinyu had the same idea as Yu Lingshu, and said, that's all we can do. I hope we didn't mistake this little girl. If she is the master, it will be great. Although the two talked about the little girl, they still respected her in their hearts. They joked for a few words and left the place, continuing to follow up secretly. This time, I traveled thousands of miles to come to this fantasy sea and participated in the Wanbao conference. Not only did I buy the void crystal I wanted, but I also obtained the Dragon Blood Stone, Cloud Rushing Pill, Zhuxiantu Divine Sword, and Thousand Sounds Illusionary Heart Formation, etc. With these gains, Chen Qingyun and the others were quite satisfied and felt that their trip was completely worthwhile. Returning to the rented cave, under Chen Qingyun's suggestion, Chen Qingyun began to refine the Chongyun pill on the spot, trying to break through as soon as possible. On Liu Zilin's side, she had refined the Zhuxiantu Divine Sword and was familiar with this new magical weapon. As for the Void Crystal, you need to refer to the teleportation array when refining it to make the corresponding array patterns and runes. It is a 1-to-1 matching key, so it cannot be used universally. It would not be too late to start the task of refining the teleportation order after returning to Zhenhai Island and allowing Liu Zilin to familiarize herself with the teleportation array. It took 3 days to slowly absorb the effects of 2 Chongyun pills, and Chen Qingyun's cultivation reached a breakthrough bottleneck. Qingyun worked hard and tried to break through. It took him more than a month to successfully break through and reach the later stage of Zaifu. On Liu Zilin's side, she has already mastered the Zhuxiantu Divine Sword and the Qianyan Fantasy Heart Array, and her strength has become a bit stronger. The various products presented at the Wanbao conference were dazzling and all-encompassing, which greatly expanded the horizons of Chen Qingyun and the others. If it weren't for the fact that there were too many monks participating, and the strong ones gathered together, and they were very competitive, then the resources captured would be more than these. Calculating the time since they came out this time, it has been nearly 7 years. The three of them stopped delaying and prepared to return to the Star Sea. In order to ensure safety, Chen Qingyun carefully checked all the resources obtained by this group to see if any tracking methods were set up inside. Even the God Avoiding Pearl was carefully checked. There are so many ways to set up traps and track people in the world of immortality, and they are endless. The most common ones are to tamper with items, leave a certain aura, restrict spells, etc. After careful inspection and confirmation that everything was correct, Chen Qingyun wrapped them all in a purple spirit robe and asked Jiuyu to cast a spell to cover them up. The purple spirit robe can conceal the monk's figure and aura, and can naturally work on magic weapons, resources and items at the same time. Just when he was completely covering up the god-avoiding pearl presented by Hunyuan Palace. It is more than 10 miles away from the cave. Fairy Qinyu, who was practicing in the cave with Yu Lingshu, suddenly opened her eyes with a smile on her face. These 3 little guys are really cautious, but doing this makes me feel more at ease. Hearing Fairy Qinyu's muttering, Yu Lingshu, who was practicing the Hunyuan Heart Sutra, temporarily stopped his exercise and asked, but they noticed something was wrong with the god-avoiding pearl? Well, senior sister, my god-avoiding bead can't trace their traces and cannot be located. It seems that they have covered it up by some means. So discreet. Yes, it's really becoming more and more like master's style. Chen Qingyun was secretly watched by the 2 Yuanying monks from Hunyuan Palace, but Chen Qingyun didn't know about it. Even if one guesses this, there is still no way to avoid the tracking methods of the nascent soul cultivator. There is still an obvious gap in realm. I gave up the rental cave, considering that there are many fantasy worlds in the fantasy sea, and it is not easy to fly around. Chen Qingyun found Zhu and asked her where there was a treasure ship that could sail out of the fantasy sea. As long as they leave the fantasy sea, they can fly forward by themselves after arriving at the 10,000 monsters sea. Zhu was very happy to be hired by Chen Qingyun again. She diligently took the 3 people to several business alliances to compare prices. In less than an hour, they booked a treasure ship at the most favorable price of 200 spirit stones per person. This treasure ship came from the Haitong Business Alliance. It was not an industry under the 3 sects. It was a business alliance base established by Penglai Fairyland in the Fantasy Sea. 2 days later, on the day when Chen Qingyun and the other 2 boarded the ship, Ranzinsi and the other 2 had been observing for a long time and also bought tickets to board the ship. The terminal of this voyage is Lianzhu Island in the 10,000 Monsters Sea, which is more than 200 miles into the 10,000 Monsters Sea. Because there were many monks on the ship, reaching more than 300 people, many of whom had participated in the 10,000 Treasures Conference, and many of them were outsiders, Chen Qingyun did not pay close attention. Even if there were people with bad intentions, Chen Qingyun could easily kill anyone who attacked them, as long as they were cultivators below the nascent soul stage. For Ranzinsi, this time he could avoid fighting in the Illusion Sea, and just avoid the protection rules of the 3 sects. This was a God-sent opportunity, and it was worth it for him to continue to observe for more than a month and board the ship. Chapter 738, Compared to puppets, you really found the right person. Compared to the last time we took the treasure ship of the Feng Chamber of Commerce, this voyage lasted nearly 3 years, during which we passed through a randomly moving fantasy world. After the ship entered this fantasy world, the surrounding scenery became colorful, as if we were in a colorful world. Looking around, the scenery we saw was almost the same, with no difference. In this colorful fantasy, the spiritual consciousness of the cultivators was directly imprisoned by the power of space, and it was impossible to spread to the real main world at all, and the compass also lost its auxiliary effect. Fortunately, there were only a few space fragments here. Although the space turbulence contained in them could strangle the giant and cultivators, they were all visible to the naked eye, so we just had to stay away from them. The monk at the helm of the treasure ship was experienced and identified the direction with his own experience, so he did not get lost. After sailing for about 4 days, the ship successfully sailed out of this fantasy world. When we entered the Wanyao Sea and arrived at Lianzhu Island, the ship passed more than 10 islands along the way, and there were only more than 50 cultivators left on the ship. After arriving at the expected sea area and landing on Lianzhu Island, all the cultivators got off the boat and went home. Chen Qingyun and the other 2 took the Wind and Thunder boat and flew towards the Sea of Stars to cross this unfamiliar sea. The scene on the sea was exactly the same. Flying in it for a long time would only make people feel visually tired. The sea and the sky were the same color. After flying for hundreds of miles, a shuttle quickly chased after them, attracting the attention of Chen Qingyun and the other 2. Liu Zilin saw the figure standing on the shuttle, and said to Chen Qingyun lightly, "We have left the fantasy sea, but there are still tales chasing us." Chen Qingyun recognized the faces of the three people and said, "It's the three people on the boat before. Don't show mercy when you attack." "Okay." When the three people just passed a deserted island, three figures flew out of the shuttle and surrounded the Wind and Thunder boat in the middle. When traveling in the fantasy sea, he did not encounter any evil acts such as treasure snatching and ambush, but he encountered such a thing in the 10,000 Monsters Sea. This made Chen Qingyun raise his eyebrows and mercilessly sacrifice the Star Ring Moonblade. This set of magic weapons turned into two attacks, first hitting the two cultivators flying in front and on the left. At the same time, Liu Zilin and Chen Qingyun reacted quickly and made their own moves. Liu Zilin sacrificed the mysterious spirit-wood divine sword to hit the cultivator on the right, and did not forget to sacrifice a defensive gem to protect Chen Qingyun. Chen Qingyun knew that her strength was limited, so she moved closer to Chen Qingyun, controlled a defensive jade pendant, and raised a whole light shield to protect herself, and did not forget to be ready to activate the 4th level puppet beast at any time. Facing Chen Qingyun's attack, Ran Sixen and Zhuxiantu urged the magic weapons to resist. The former relied on the realm advantage and pierced through the air with a 4th level top-grade black hairpin magic weapon to resist the attack of the Star Ring. In the latter case, even though Zhuxiantu was alert when he attacked and had already blessed himself with a 4th level black tortoise shield talisman, he had no power to resist the extremely powerful Moonblade. After just one encounter, Zhuxiantu was split by a sword and screamed. Zhuxiantu was severely injured, and Wang Pei had no chance of winning against Liu Zilin. With the 4th level top-grade Xuanlingwood divine sword and the blessing of the 2nd golden elixir, Liu Zilin's combat power can already match that of a mid-stage golden elixir cultivator. Facing Wang Pei's white flying sword, the Xuanlingwood divine sword knocked it out in one go. Wang Pei didn't expect Liu Zilin to be so strong, and he was able to find out her strength with just one fight. She quickly recalled the flying sword and approached Transinsi, trying to seek shelter. Liu Zilin had expected this, and controlled the Xuanlingwood divine sword to turn in the air and continued to slash with a sword. Although Wang Pei managed to avoid the sword, he broke out in a cold sweat and dared not fight Liu Zilin alone again. "Ah!" Accompanied by another scream, Wang Pei glanced at Zhuxiantu's soul and saw that he had flown out of his body and left them behind to flee far away. However, the next moment, he was crushed by Chen Qingyun's Moonblade and completely killed. In front of Chen Qingyun, let alone one Zhuxiantu, even 100 or 1,000 of them would not be his opponent. The death of Zhuxiantu immediately stimulated Ran Xinxi and his apprentice, and they realized that this time they might lose more than they gained. Ran Xinxi was also a very decisive person. Without hesitation, he chose to control 3 black flying needles and shot them towards Chen Qingyun. This was a 4th-grade black needle with extremely strong penetrating power. It was the nemesis of defensive magic weapons and body shields, and it was also Ran Xinxi's favorite sneak attack method. Facing such flying needle attacks, Chen Qingyun had accumulated a lot of combat experience, so he naturally would not use the heavenly shield to resist, but controlled the Moonblade to spin around and knocked the 3 black rays away. Ran Xinxi saw that the black needles did not work, and with a low hum, he took back the black needles and hid them in his hand, then opened the storage ring and sacrificed the 2 puppet beasts he carried with him. The 2 puppet beasts were both in the shape of eagles, with wings spread out to nearly 2 meters. They were made of flaming red gold and could release blazing fire to fight the enemy. The 2 puppet eagles appeared and attacked Chen Qingyun together, wanting to deal with this most difficult enemy. But she underestimated Chen Qingyun after all. "Comparing puppets with me? Then, you really found the right person." Seeing that the other party's method was exactly what he was best at, Chen Qingyun remained calm, sacrificed the heavenly shield and blocked it in front of him, and resisted the attack of 2 blazing fires first. These 2 puppet eagles are one of the foundations of Ran Xinxi's sect. They seem to have only the strength of the middle giant stage, but the blazing fire they release is known for its fierce and hot heat. They can easily dissolve the shield light of the giant cultivator, and the 4th level magic tools below the upper grade can also break the defense. Not only that, their wings are made of metal, which can release sharp feather blades to fight the enemy, and have extremely strong attack power. The puppet eagle, a 4th level middle grade, is made of fire and red gold, full of the sharpness of metal, and can use blazing fire and feather blades to fight the enemy. Seeing the blazing fire being blocked, Ranzinzi realized the extraordinariness of the Huashan shield. He didn't expect that Chen Qingyun really had a lot of background. The 2 magic tools he used were both 4th level top grade. Such a big fat sheep is really tempting. In Chen Qingyun's view, these 3 Ranzinzi are not treasure-giving boys. At this moment, they took the initiative to deliver treasures, so it's no wonder that he is cruel. Chen Qingyun raised his hand, and a fairy palace appeared in his palm, and 5 figures flew out of it. 4 of them flew in one direction, surrounded Wang Pei, and fought with Liu Zilin. The 5th one rushed straight to Ranzinzi. Ranzinzi was also a giant and cultivator, and had seen all kinds of battles. She recognized that this was a puppet method at a glance, and subconsciously scanned it with her spiritual sense, and suddenly opened her eyes wide in shock. Before she could say the 3 words nascent soul stage, Baoang rushed over with a cold look, and just released the nascent soul magic power on his body, which hit Ranzinzi like a tide. Chapter 739, How to Create a Teleportation Array. No matter how powerful Ranzinzi is, she is only at the peak of the Golden Core stage, and is simply unable to cross the level to fight against the Baoang at the nascent soul stage. Being touched by Baoang's nascent soul mana, her face was replaced by a look of horror. She could no longer care about anything. She even stopped putting away the 2 puppet eagles and turned into a frightened bird. She set up a flying shuttle and headed into the distance. Escape. Let alone controlling a 4th level shuttle, even a 5th level shuttle cannot escape from the palm of Baoang's hand. Ranzinzi only flew a few dozen meters, and was easily caught up by Baoang the next moment. The 2 Tianyan swords flew out from the Danshan and turned into 2 sword lights. With one sword, Ranzinzi was completely killed, and even the defensive treasure clothes on her body were forcefully cut open. Ah! Frightened screams rang out. Wang Pei, who was never Liu Zilin's opponent, was surrounded and suppressed by the 4 golden elixir puppets of Xuanwu, Poseidon, Hanbing, and Tanlai. His face was as pale as paper with fright. At this moment, Wang Pei was in disbelief when he witnessed his master with great supernatural powers being instantly killed by Baoang with one blow, as if he had seen a ghost. How could she not have seen Ranzinzi's previous move of abandoning her and running away? A junior brother and a master abandoned her at the moment of life and death, which made her start to laugh miserably, completely different from the calm and indifferent attitude before taking action. Knowing that she was facing a dead end, she did not beg for mercy. She scolded Ranzinzi and Zhuxiantu fiercely in her heart, and then directly chose to self-destruct, hoping to drag Liu Zilin to be buried with her. How could Chen Qingyun give her this opportunity? There was no need for Chen Qingyun to take action at all. Liu Zilin played an extremely cold ice soul talisman, freezing Wang Pei into an ice sculpture, and all the mana, energy and blood in his body were frozen. Seal up. A flash of sword light flashed, and the Xuanlingwood divine sword showed its power and beheaded Wang Pei. Ranzinzi and the others, who originally wanted to kill people and seize the treasure, capsized in the ditch and were easily killed by Chen Qingyun and the others. The battle was quickly ended. Chen Qingyun reached out and made a move. Baoang and the 4 clones of Xuanwu moved in unison, transformed into mini-sized bodies and flew back to the Immortal Palace in the palm. Liu Zilin cooperated and quickly cleaned the battlefield, incinerated the bodies of Ranzinzi and the others and threw them into the sea, and put away all the trophies such as the storage ring and the puppet base. Setting up the wind and thunder boat again, the 3 of them flew away through the air and disappeared without a trace, unless the nascent soul monk came in person and used time retrieval and other methods to investigate the specific battle situation. How many nascent soul cultivators can we encounter in this vast sea of monsters? Speeding across the sea of 10,000 demons for more than 10,000 miles, Chen Qingyun switched to riding the moling and began to carefully count the loot this time to see if there were any items that needed to be discarded so as not to leave any clues. The wealth of Ranzinsi and the other two people is quite good, with a total of more than 6 million spiritual stones, magical weapons, and elixirs. The total of these is worth more than 7 million spirit stones. The strength of the two puppet beasts can rival those of a mid-stage golden core monk, although their attack effects are single, with one requiring 3 mid-grade spiritual stones as energy. They can be collected as family heritage. If the Chen family declines in the future, having this kind of 4th level puppet beast to control the family will definitely become a powerful weapon to deter foreign enemies. It is particularly worth mentioning that the 2 items Ranzinsi bought at the Wanbao conference were also purchased this time. One is a 4th level high-grade A-door golden light array. The effect is that it can continuously use golden light to consume the opponent, which has a very good auxiliary effect. The attack of a formation's golden light is equivalent to a full-strength strike from a monk in the early stage of the golden core, and it is quite powerful. The shortcomings are also obvious, that is, this formation consumes a lot of energy, requires a high-grade spiritual stone as energy, and requires a golden elixir monk to concentrate on controlling the formation. If one person forms the formation, he will not be able to spare any extra thought to perform other moves. Ranzinsi and the others did not use this formation because they could not wait in the range it in advance, so they could only stay in the storage ring to eat ashes. Another product is a bottle of spiritual liquid. Judging from the smell and appearance, it is called 10,000 Beasts Spiritual Liquid. Its effect is that it has an effect on many spiritual beasts and can increase their cultivation. Chen Qingyun did not see this bottle of 10,000 Beasts Spiritual Liquid at the infield auction. It was exchanged by Ranzinsi at the outfield barter meeting. Chen Qingyun did not recognize the 10,000 Beasts Spiritual Liquid at first, but Liu Zilin was well informed and recognized it at a glance. There was also a book of exercises and a jade slip that aroused Chen Qingyun's interest. This technique is called Purple Eye Spiritual Pupil and was discovered in Ranzinsi's storage ring. According to the description and the skill, after practicing this method, it can be seen that the monk's spiritual root qualifications are a special skill originated from ancient times. It needs to be practiced with the Qingguang purple qi, and the training requirements are relatively strict. In addition, monks with fire attribute spiritual root qualifications are also required to practice purple-eyed spiritual pupils. Could it be that this person saw Qingguang or Zilin's aptitude and became murderous? Chen Qingyun murmured to himself. For the time being, he could only think of this reason, or he came for the dragon blood stone, void crystal, etc. This person possesses the most precious treasure and has excellent spiritual roots and qualifications, which can easily attract the covetous attention of those who are interested. They didn't threaten us to hand over the void crystal and other objects when they took action. They must have the intention of seizing them. Liu Zilin also read the article Purple Eyes Spiritual Eyes, had a guess in her heart, and said seriously to Chen Qingyun, "King Luan, we all have Danlingen qualifications. Regarding our qualifications, this must be kept secret. Only the closest people can reveal it." "Good." Chen Qingyun nodded seriously, realizing that his qualifications really needed to be kept secret. If I were to meet these 3 people alone, I would probably be possessed by someone. The 2 women did not use puppets this time, relying on Chen Qingyun's power to quickly resolve the battle. Finally, there was an unexpected surprise, that is, the content of the jade slip, which did not set any restrictions. Chen Qingyun looked it up and his eyes lit up. There was actually a method for making a small teleportation array here. From the location of the teleportation array, the choice of materials, how to make it precisely, and even the later maintenance, everything was available, and the description was very detailed. Seeing this jade slip, Chen Qingyun thought of Ranzinsi's previous bid for the void crystal. It seems that he has the material in his hand and is ready to make a teleportation array himself. In fact, if you think about it carefully, how many cultivators are willing to spend a high price to buy the void crystal and are willing to use it to refine the weapon? It is nothing more than the idea of refining the teleportation order. Fortunately, in Huanhai, Many people participated in the Wanbao conference just for the void crystal. There are more people holding the same idea, which greatly distracts attention, so the possibility of being targeted is much smaller. This battle was not a loss, and the harvest was not bad. Chapter 740. The mine is exhausted. The authenticity of the construction method of this teleportation array needs to be taken back and verified again. If it is true, then the family can try to build a teleportation array in the future to connect Lingjian Island, Linxai Island, Zhenhai Island, Psychedelic Island and other places. In this way, it will be more convenient for management and communication, and greatly promote the development of the family. Once there is an emergency on any of the islands here, the Chen family monks can also solve the problem as soon as possible, which greatly saves time. After traveling in the Sea of 10,000 Demons for more than 2 years, sometimes riding the Black Spirit to gallop through the blue sky, sometimes using the Wind and Thunder boat to sail like lightning, the three of them finally arrived at the Sea of Stars. Entering the familiar realm of Xinhai, Chen Qingyun was the first to breathe a sigh of relief, feeling that this sea area was so friendly. Star Sea, Outer Star Sea scene. Seeing in the fantasy sea that there are people outside the world, there is a sky outside the sky, in such a situation where strong people are like clouds. This made Chen Qingyun realize the shortcomings of his own strength. Even the Tanlingen qualification is not worth mentioning in front of the old monsters at the Golden Core stage and Nascent Soul stage. Later, the experience of being followed and intercepted by Ranzinsi and 3 others made her even more determined to practice hard and become stronger. Now looking at the familiar environment of Xinhai, with the protection of the family and the fear of the family from all forces, it is undoubtedly like a greenhouse. From now on, I still need to go out more and practice more, increase my knowledge, and don't hold my brother back. Chen Qingyun made up his mind. After entering the realm of the Star Sea, the 3 of them flew directly to Xialong Island, chose to take the teleportation array, and teleported to the Inner Star Sea in one step. Experiencing the efficiency and convenience brought by the teleportation array made Chen Qingyun more determined that he must build a teleportation array for his family in the future. After arriving at Inner Star Sea, the 3 of them returned to Zhenhai Island a few days later. This time, almost 12 years had passed since Huanhai and his party came and went. When they set foot on Zhenhai Island again, the scene on the island had changed a lot. More and more lofts are rising from the ground, and all kinds of house construction come into view. The storage rooms, warehouses, etc. used for mining ores have now been almost demolished, and it is difficult to see any traces. A town has developed around the hematite veins, and several villages have been built. Different from the scenes of mortals working in mining in the past, now we can no longer see the figures coming in and out of the mineral veins and working hard. The entrances to the mine veins have also been banned, blocked by mountains and rocks, and it seems that mining will no longer continue. Seeing this scene, Chen Qingyun couldn't help but sigh that time flies so fast. Based on the mining volume when hematite was discovered, this micro vein can be mined for about 50 years. Now, if I count on my fingers, 50 years have passed. This industry, which once provided hematite resources to the Chen family and became one of the pillars of the family economy, has exerted its last remaining heat and continued to benefit the family for more than 50 years. The depletion of hematite was within Chen Qingyun's expectation. Although the Chen family is currently developing rapidly, it no longer relies solely on this mineral vein to support the family business. But regarding hematite, the monks of the Chen family, especially Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun, are very affectionate and can't help but feel emotional. When Chen Qingyun saw the 3 people returning, he asked them to sit down and have a good rest, and brought them spiritual fruit tea and Chen Qingyun's favorite snacks. It had been a long time since he had seen 5th sister, and Chen Qingyun missed her the most. He stepped forward and held 5th sister's hand, chatting with a smile, and asked about her current situation with concern. The 2 sisters got along very well and had many things to say in private. When he saw Yuzilin coming here together, Chen Qingyun smiled and nodded in greeting. He had already recognized his sister-in-law in his heart and did not reject her. The 4 of them sat together and chatted. The atmosphere was harmonious and comfortable. From 5th sister, Chen Qingyun learned about the development of Zhenhai Island over the years. Since he left Zhenhai Island and went to Huanhai, the family's population has continued to grow, and more family bloodlines have been born. In order to establish more urban territories, not only Linxi County continued to expand, but with the assistance of monks, a new town was built. In order to put the development of Zhenhai Island on the agenda, the family sent monks to build a village on Zhenhai Island and moved more than 6,000 mortals here to live and work in peace and contentment. As of now, the number of mortals on Zhenhai Island is close to 20,000. In the past few years, more than a dozen spiritual roots have been born, including 2 with dual spiritual roots. As for the monks, Chen Qingyun is still stationed alone, and no monks are randomly assigned. Considering that Zhenhai Island has been guarded by Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun for a long time, the family defaults to this as their survival territory. Should we send monks to live here, or should we ask for their opinions? Because Chen Qingyun was away from home and had not returned for the time being, this inquiry was shelved. Chen Qingyun has no objections here. Now that all the hematite ore has been mined, she does not need to manage the guard and can return to Lingjian Island to live. However, considering that he has lived here for decades and has rich feelings in his heart, Chen Qingyun actually doesn't want to leave, and has long been accustomed to the quiet and free-living atmosphere here. This time I mentioned this matter to ask Chen Qingyun what he thought. If Chen Qingyun is ready to return to life on Lingjian Island, she will go with him. If you continue to stay on Zhenhai Island, then stay here together. We are now successful in cultivation. It is easy to travel between Lingjian Island and Zhenhai Island. My suggestion is to stay on Zhenhai Island. Chen Qingyun didn't think much and gave the answer directly. The family is developing rapidly now, and it is right to return to the family to practice. But considering his own talent secrets and the foundation he has built on Zhenhai Island, Chen Qingyun still prefers to be more quiet and free. Although there are many cultivators in the family now, in fact, only the 4th-generation cultivators of the Xiandao Qingqing generation can really make Chen Qingyun open his heart to get along with them, and there are only about 10 people in total. Most of the other cultivators in the family seem very unfamiliar, and there are not many intersections. At this point, Chen Qingyun mentioned the matter of making a teleportation array. He told Chen Qingyun that he had the production drawings in his hand, and he was going to discuss with the family soon, and try to build a teleportation array between Zhenhai Island and Lingjian Island on time to facilitate travel. 6th brother, it seems that you have gained a lot from this trip to Huanhai, and you can even get the construction drawings of the teleportation array. Chen Qingyun was quite surprised, thinking that there must be some ups and downs in this, and continued. You have always had good luck. You have been away from home for 12 years. I think it was not smooth sailing outside. It's good that you can come back safely. After chatting with Chen Qingyun found that the 5th sister had made great progress. Because of her status as a Purple Ordered Star Patroller, she has been taking on Star Sect missions over the years, constantly honing her skills and acquiring resources. Chen Qingyun has made significant progress in refining weapons, reaching the 3rd grade extreme. As long as she breaks through the Jinan stage, she can easily enter the 4th grade level. Chapter 741, Huang Long Sect. In addition to the fact that her weapon refining attainments can be further improved, in terms of cultivation, Chen Qingyun has already reached the peak of the Purple Mansion, and recently has the idea of impacting the Golden Core stage. For this reason, she has applied to the family to exchange a Golden Core, and is preparing to retreat in the next 5 years. Upon hearing this news, Chen Qingyun was somewhat delighted. The family now needs to produce a few more Golden Core cultivators. The Golden Core brought back from the 5 Elements sect ruins can be used on Chen Qingyun, which is obviously the best choice. Regarding the overall strength of the family, Chen Qingyun did not ask in detail, and planned to go back to the family and talk to the old patriarch in person. It just so happened that some of the things brought back this time still needed to be exchanged for the family. As the strength continued to improve and reached the Golden Core stage, Chen Qingyun gradually began to realize that the help the family could provide to him was not as great as before. This is not that the family did not try their best, but that Chen Qingyun was far ahead. With the current connections and capabilities of the family, it cannot provide resources to assist in the formation of infants. And as the number of family monks increases, the limited resources have to be subdivided, which makes it even more impossible to use the power of the whole family to provide services for one person. And the family wants to continue to grow and produce more Jiandan monks, or even Yuanying monks, so as to stimulate potential, obtain more territory, and access better resources. Xingzong rules the entire Xinghai, and its strength is second to none. No one in the Xinghai can shake its position. Apart from the system of Xingzong's wide recruitment of talents from all over the world, it is still because of the foundation of its continued prosperity, vast land and abundant resources. Looking closely at the current Chen family, there are two shortcomings. One is because of the family bloodline factor. It is impossible to recruit talents from all over the world for training like a sect. A family can reproduce and inherit, relying on the cohesion of bloodline. Otherwise, if this is missing, what is the difference between this and a sect? The second point is that there is less land. If you can control several high-level spiritual veins, spiritual stone mines, and several large islands, you can have more resources and more immortal seedlings and cultivation resources. Of course, the family leaders have long been aware of these problems, and Chen Qingyun does not need to worry too much. Chen Qingyun smiled and told Chen Qingyun about the experience in the Huanhai trip and the prosperity of the Wanbao conference. This chat lasted until the morning of the next day. After such a conversation, Chen Qingyun asked a few questions from time to time, and he was already familiar with the current situation on Zhenhai Island. At present, the refinery workshop has reached its maximum service life because the soul puppet can no longer be inscribed. If you want to continue to operate the refinery workshop, you need to solve this problem. Chen Qingyun thought of Wanjiantu for this. This soul puppet was originally the reward for refining the three flowers gathering spirit platform for Wanjiantu, and it was made of the soul of the Zhao family cultivator. Calculating the time, it is indeed necessary to remake the soul puppet. After checking around the refinery workshop, because there is no assistance from the soul puppet, the production industry has been temporarily suspended in recent years, and no magic tools have been produced. Since Chen Qingyun was absent in the past few years, Chen Xianming directly ignored the proposal of some family monks to restart the production line and chose to obtain Chen Qingyun's ideas first. After all, this refining workshop was founded by Chen Qingyun, and the division of interests and operating mechanisms required Chen Qingyun to participate in it personally. Whether to restart or not, naturally, it must first pass Chen Qingyun's level. Since the original intention of establishing the refining workshop was to benefit the family, Chen Qingyun thought about it and decided to restart the production line. Who would dislike too many spirit stones? It just so happens that there are many mortals on Zhenhai Island now, and there is enough labor, which can also drive the economic development here and solve some employment problems. After staying on Zhenhai Island for 2 days, Chen Qingyun sorted out the spoils and divided the spirit stones, elixirs, etc. equally between Liu Zilin and Chen Qingyun. As for magic tools, this thing is easy to be exposed if used casually. From the items and books collected in Ranzinxi's storage ring, it can be seen that this person is from a sect in Piomia Blood Sea, named Huanglong sect. Chen Qingyun didn't know how strong the Huanglong sect was, or whether there was an old monster in the nascent soul stage. So for safety reasons, the magic weapons of Ranzinxi and the other two could not be left behind, so as not to be exposed and let the Huanglong sect monks know. This inner sea looks like there are 7 sea areas, and the area is vast. In fact, the monks in the major sea areas have close exchanges, and there are also some monks from the Misty Blood Sea and the Star Sea. Chen Qingyun kept all the magic weapons he had captured, such as the Black Needle and the Black Hairpin, for decomposition. The 2 puppet eagles are good things. They should be exchanged for the family as a collection of heritage, and they should not be shown to the public at will. The 8-gate golden light formation, a 4th level formation, could not be controlled by Chen Qingyun for the time being, so Chen Qingyun gave it to Liu Zilin. Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin each copied a copy of the skill Purple Eye Spirit Pupil, and they will practice it in the future. After dividing the spoils, Chen Qingyun flew to Lingjian Island alone. I met the old patriarch in the tribe. I hadn't seen Chen Qingyun for more than 10 years. The old patriarch looked around with concern and exchanged a few words, which allowed Chen Qingyun to get straight to the point. As for the weapon refining workshop, I will go to Lingbao Mountain later and try to get 1 or 2 more soul puppets. This industry still needs to continue to operate, and I also want to get more magic tools from it. Chen Xianming had already thought about making money from the weapon refining workshop. Now, when he heard that Chen Qingyun still needed to obtain a magical weapon from it, he agreed without saying anything, and did not ask in detail about the specific origin of the soul puppet and why he needed to go to Lingbao Mountain to obtain it. If Chen Qingyun did not take the initiative to ask, Chen Xianming would not ask. After talking about the weapon refining workshop, Chen Xianming took the initiative to mention the current situation on Zhenhai Island and mentioned hematite. Chen Qingyun already knew these things, and after a few simple words, he asked about the development of the family. This question brought many surprises. Although 12 years is not a long time, the population size of the Chen family can be said to have expanded a lot. In particular, the number of cultivators recruited from outside has shown an explosive growth. Up to now, the population of the Chen family has grown to 120,000, and the number of cultivators has reached 511. And has developed to the Z generation. The youngest new generation cultivator is 3-year-old Chen Xian. These 511 people are cultivators of the Chen family, and many of them are born from intermarriage with foreigners. As for the outside cultivators recruited, there are currently 723 of them, currently living in Yuanzhou Island and Miwan Island. The spiritual field planting and cave leasing that the Chen family strongly advocated attracted many independent cultivators. Chen Xianming carefully selected these cultivators and recruited those with clear backgrounds, good character, and successful cultivation as guest elders to assist the family in managing the cultivation on these 2 islands. This makes the number of guest elders of the Chen family reach 16. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 742, Earth and Number 039 S Core Flame, Family Spiritual Beast. Among the 16 guest elders, there are 3 familiar foundation building cultivators, Wei Minyuan, Yan Wancheng, and Lu Qinyang. These 3 were the first batch of cultivators to become guest elders of the Chen family. With the help of the Chen family over the years, they have successfully built their foundations. The remaining guest elders include 2 foundation building cultivators named Hong Jiaxun and Wen Le, who are stationed on Yuanzhou Island. Chen Xianming briefly introduced these guest elders, and then focused on the family cultivators. 12 years have passed, and the overall strength of the family has continued to grow. There are some cultivators who deserve special mention. As the patriarch, Chen Xianming has not fallen behind in his cultivation over the years. He broke through to the middle stage of the Golden Core 9 years ago. Now, there is only a little bottleneck from the late stage. This speed is already catching up with Chen Qingyun. In addition, Chen Daoran has reached the late stage of the Purple Mansion, and his weapon refining technique has also broken through to the 3rd level extreme. Chen Daoran, on the other hand, was in the middle stage of the Purple Mansion. His alchemy skills had advanced by leaps and bounds and had reached the 4th grade upper grade. He was responsible for refining the foundation building pill for the family. Alchemy and refining are somewhat different. Refining a tool does not necessarily require the help of a refining furnace, but refining a pill requires an alchemy furnace. Although Chen Daoran's cultivation had not reached the golden core stage, he had the assistance of a superior alchemy furnace. He was lucky enough to have obtained a rare spiritual fire, Earth Core Flame, during a treasure hunt 3 years ago. This gave him a strong foundation for alchemy. With spiritual fire, the efficiency of alchemy increased significantly, and it was not surprising that he could achieve the 4th grade alchemy skill. Earth Core Flame, This fire belongs to a kind of spiritual fire of heaven and earth. Grandpa Dalen has an extraordinary fate. With the help of this fire, he has become even more powerful in alchemy. Upon learning about Chen Dalen's good fortune, Chen Qingyun couldn't help but smile. In terms of power, the earth core flame is equivalent to the green flame earth core fire. Both are spiritual fires of heaven and earth that exist in the fire veins. The difference between the two is that the Qingyun earth core fire can assist cultivators in building their foundation, while the earth core fire has no effect in assisting cultivation, but is very suitable for alchemy and refining. The earth core fire, one of the spiritual fires of heaven and earth, has the effect of assisting alchemy and refining. Chen Xianming was also quite happy and said, "Your grandfather Dalen has had good luck in the past few years. I didn't expect that after traveling to the outer sea, he could also obtain this spiritual fire opportunity in an ancient underwater ruins. This is his fortune, and it is also the blessing of our Chen family." Chen Xianming gave a brief account of the ancient underwater ruins. At that time, Chen Dalen was invited by his friends to form a team with 5 other Purple Mansion cultivators to jointly explore the treasures in a shallow sea area in the outer sea. The trip can be said to be thrilling, because they encountered cave restrictions and monster ambushes, and 4 of the 6 people were eventually killed. Only Chen Dalen and another Purple Mansion period cultivator escaped and left the ruins alive with the opportunity. In the more than 3 years since then, Chen Dalen has been concentrating on refining the earth's core fire, and finally tamed this kind of spiritual fire of heaven and earth. As for the fact that he has the spiritual fire of heaven and earth, only a few people of the Dao generation, Chen Xianming and Chen Qingyun, know about it. Now that he can tell Chen Qingyun, it is also out of great trust. With Chen Dalen, the master of alchemy, it is not a problem for the family to produce foundation building pills. He is a treasure level refiner. As for other members of the clan, their cultivation has also increased significantly, mainly concentrated in the 2 generations of Qingguang. Chen Qingyun currently has the late Purple Mansion cultivation. In order to increase his strength, he has been hunting monsters outside for many years to obtain monster pills, and he is very diligent. According to him, he is preparing to collect monster resources for condensing golden pills by himself. It can be said that he has accumulated many valuable experiences and the fighting experience. In the area of educating future generations to practice, Chen Qingyun will sometimes act as a mentor, explain some monster knowledge, and increase the younger generation's understanding of monsters. During the lecture, Chen Qingyun was a bit hot-tempered and liked to be straightforward, which inevitably made some juniors complain in their hearts and called him Gunpowder Elder, the kind of gunpowder barrel that exploded at a touch. After describing the situation of the family cultivators, Chen Xianming took the initiative to mention the family's spiritual beasts. The water seahorse and the fire dragon colt are all good, and it is worth mentioning the ice crystal silver python and Erking. Once joined Zhang Renju and Zhang Wenshan of the Zhang family to clean up the snake plague on Linxai Island. They brought back 3 ice crystal silver python cubs, 2 of which were given to Chen Dalen and Chen Qingyun. The third one, Chen Qingyun, gave it to the family and optimized its bloodline with the ancient white stone. After Chen Xianming obtained it, because it felt close to Chen Xianming, it was basically taken care of by Chen Xianming. This ice crystal silver python belonging to the family has now reached the 2nd level upper grade, that is, the strength of the late foundation building stage, after continuous domestication and cultivation, and lives near the library. This is a family spirit beast, which often attracts many family descendants to watch and see the true appearance of the family spirit beast. As for Erking, as a sky wind beast, Chen Qingyun's Bailing has been promoted to the 2nd level extreme. Erking is a little weaker, a 2nd level upper grade, and a late foundation building cultivation. Speaking of Erking, Chen Xianming took out a jade bottle. Sky wind beasts can be cultivated with wind attribute spirit herbs. There are some wind essences in it, which I got at a small exchange meeting. Now Erking has taken some, and the remaining half bottle will be given to Bailing. Fenyuan grass is a 4th level spirit medicine, which grows in a place with rich wind attributes. It can be used to refine some 4th level pills and given to wind attribute spirit beasts to increase their strength. Chen Qingyun had never seen this kind of spiritual herb before. When he took it in his hand and looked at it, the green spirit in the blessed land bead noticed it and expressed his desire to eat it. This is a good thing, so Chen Qingyun was not polite and decided to exchange it for something else, not to take advantage of the old patriarch. No need, just take it. I have received a lot of benefits from you over the years, and this little return to you is nothing. You don't have to be polite to me. After accepting the essence of Hunyuan grass, Chen Qingyun took out the purple monkey flower exchanged at the Wanbao conference and some spiritual medicines he had recently obtained and planted, and exchanged them for the family. The skill Purple Eye spiritual pupil, of course, cannot be forgotten, which can better discover the spiritual root qualifications. If you can meet a fairy seedling with superior qualifications and a peerless genius outside, you can also find a way to win them over to join the Chen family first. According to the current exchange system, this Purple Eye spiritual pupil can be exchanged for 50,000 merits, which is equivalent to the price of the golden pill skill. Including purple monkey flower and other spiritual medicines, Chen Qingyun obtained more than 60,000 merits in total, and exchanged most of the merits for magic tools, obtaining 1,180 red iron swords. At present, the family has been making red iron swords for many years, and the storage volume is huge. And it has begun to pile up. Chen Qingyun's exchange this time can be regarded as clearing the inventory. This chat lasted for more than an hour. After drinking a few sips of tea, Chen Qingyun mentioned the matter of the teleportation array and took out the jade slip. What? The method of making the teleportation array? Upon learning that he had obtained the construction method of the teleportation array, Chen Xianming's eyes lit up and he immediately took the jade slip to check it. Chapter 743, Visiting Zhongyang number 039's house again, encountering Kajal again. Neither of them is proficient in formations. Chen Xianming has more experience than Chen Qingyun, but from the content recorded in the jade slip, he can't find any faults, and most of them are incomprehensible. After reading it from beginning to end, Chen Xianming pondered for a while, smiled bitterly and said, "Qingyun, I'm not afraid of you laughing at me. I can't tell the truth from this confession. If I really want to build it, I need to find someone to check it." Guessing what the clan leader would say, Chen Qingyun asked, "Who does the clan leader plan to verify?" In the family, what are the current formation attainments of Qingguang and Qingguang, the two nieces? Speaking of these two people, Chen Xianming smiled knowingly. They are very competitive and have made great progress. Both of them are currently 3rd level upper grade formations. They have been studying in the Zhang family for many years and learning the way of formations from the Zhang family's senior management. Oh, they are already 3rd level upper grade formation masters, and they have made such rapid progress. Chen Qingyun was very surprised when he heard this. The last time I noticed these two nieces, Chen Qingyun was still at the lower level of the 2nd grade, and Chen Qingyun was at the middle level of the 2nd grade. Now they have both reached the upper level of the 3rd grade, and have improved so much. This formation seems to be easier than refining weapons? Sensing Chen Qingyun's surprise, Chen Xianming smiled and said, "The Zhang family has made a breakthrough in the formation in the past 10 years. Zhang Tanling has reached the level of a 4th grade lower grade formation master. It is said that he was taken care of by the Xingzong. It's hard to explain the reason for this for a while. Anyway, the Xingzong wants to promote them." Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun just took advantage of the Zhang family's east wind this time. They are willing to work hard and devote themselves to the formation all day long to make such remarkable progress. This is what they deserve. Listening to the old patriarch's story, Chen Qingyun nodded slowly. It's a good thing that 2 3rd grade formation masters were born in the family, and talents in this area are also needed. It just so happens that the two nieces can participate in the production of the teleportation array this time. After a few words, Chen Xianmin suggested that the two women come to check the jade slip first to see if the family can complete the construction independently. Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun have been in the family for the past few days. After being summoned, they were surprised to see the jade slip. They realized what it meant, so they read it carefully one after another, and discussed it from time to time. After a while, Chen Qingyun said, "Patriarch, sixth elder, I can only understand about half of the content in it. It's my fault that my attainments are too shallow. The other half of the content involves the knowledge of the fourth level formation, which is still a bit obscure for me for the time being. Me, too, I can't understand the fourth level part of it, but we can be sure that the parts that can be understood are genuine and there are no problems. This also involves the fourth level formation." Chen Xianmin pondered for a while. The two formation masters with the highest attainments in the family are still lacking in maturity. If they cannot verify the authenticity of it 100%, they will not be able to build it. It is naturally better to build the teleportation array as early as possible, and the sooner it is built, the sooner it will be enjoyed. After thinking about it, Chen Xianmin finally suggested that it would be better to discuss with Zhang Tanling. Zhang Tanling is the head of the Chen family on Chu Island. He currently has a 4th level lower grade formation attainment and is the top formation master of the Zhang family. This needs to verify whether the content of the jade slip is true or not, and whether it can be done according to it. Then a 4th level formation master must be invited to check. Otherwise, it is to find Bei Yining. Between the Zhang family and Bei Yining, Chen Xianmin is more familiar with the Zhang family, and the relationship between the two families can be said to be old friends. Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun have been guided and taught by the Zhang family and have improved the way of formation. It is true that the Zhang family has the intention of currying favor with the Chen family. However, the two families have been friends for many years. In order to further consolidate their relationship, it is not impossible for the Chen family to show the family style and let Zhang Tanling get in touch with the method of building the teleportation array. Zhang Tanling is also a person who knows how to repay kindness and values friendship. If this is shared together, it will be beneficial for the family to cultivate more formation talents in the future, and it will also be good for Zhang Tanling to teach Qingyun and Qingyun. Thinking of this, Chen Xianmin expressed his idea and asked Chen Qingyun what he thought. After all, this jade slip was an opportunity that Chen Qingyun had obtained. The old patriarch was far-sighted and thought from the perspective of the family. There was nothing to refuse for this point, so Chen Qingyun nodded and agreed. The four discussed this and finally reached a consensus. At present, it should be noted that this matter needs to be kept secret, and the fewer people know about it, the better. Even if it is really being built, it should be done as secretly as possible. On the same day, Chen Xianmin copied a copy and decided to go to the Zhang family in person. Regarding Chen Qingyun's proposal to build a teleportation array on Linjian Island and Xinhai Island, Chen Xianmin directly voted in favor of it without calling other family leaders to vote. He brought back a piece of void crystal, which could be used to make 3 teleportation orders, enough for 3 sets of teleportation arrays. On the same day, Chen Xianmin went to do this and asked Chen Qingyun to go for a walk. After many years, he came to the Zhang family on Chu Island again. When Chen Qingyun passed Chu, he saw the red dragon again. At this time, the red dragon's body size has increased a bit, and it has evolved to the 2nd level extreme, equivalent to the peak strength of foundation building. When it saw Chen Qingyun again, it did not feel the red dragon soul in the red dragon flag like last time. Instead, it felt the golden elixir magic power emanating from Chen Qingyun. Out of fear, it did not dare to contact Chen Qingyun, and chose to stay away from him, diving to the bottom of the lake and hiding. Chen Qingyun used his spiritual sense to scan the red dragon, and after finding out the other party's state, he just sighed a little about the passing of time. When he first came to the Zhang family to take the formation, he was looked down upon by the red dragon. Now that he came again, he became the other party hiding at the bottom of the lake and trembling. As the Zhang family's clan guardian spirit beast, it was the first to feel the powerful power brought by the giant and cultivator, and did not dare to offend Chen Qingyun and the others. Chen Qingyun no longer paid attention to the red dragon, and followed Chen Qingyun to go deep into the Zhang family. Upon learning that Chen Xianming and the others had arrived, the Zhang family's senior officials in the clan came out to greet them and invited them to sit in the clan hall. Chen Xianming directly stated his intention and secretly sent a message to Zhang Tanling that there was a set of formation-making methods that he, the head of the Zhang family, needed to read. Whether it was due to the friendship between the two families or the admiration for the giant and cultivator, the Zhang family had no reason to refuse. Zhang Tanling accepted the invitation and asked other family senior officials to temporarily retreat, and then took the jade slip handed by Chen Xianming. At first, he was just curious about what kind of formation could make Chen Xianming, the head of the Chen family, come here in person, and even Chen Qingyun came with him, and at the same time sent out 2 giant and cultivators. When he saw the contents of the jade slip, he was immediately shocked and couldn't stay calm. Oh, my goodness, this is the method of refining a teleportation formation. Zhang Tanling took a breath and felt that this was really incredible. Chapter 744 Cooperation. Zhang Wenhui reappears. In the world of Xinghai Immortal Cultivation, the production and use of teleportation arrays are monopolized by the Star Sect and are never disseminated to the outside world. Even during the Xinghai Demon Tide, Xingzong once openly built the teleportation array on Xialong Island, allowing monks from all parties involved in the war to participate. But as long as the core part of the formation is involved, it is all done in secret, and outsiders will not be given the opportunity to observe it carefully and understand its secrets. As long as the core principles are not mastered, even if you continue to build in front of the monks, nothing will be seen and you will not be able to copy the gourd. The most critical part of the materials used is also not disclosed to the public. There are a lot of niche and rare materials, and there are more than 200 kinds of them. The Xingzong's confidence lies in that even if the production process of the teleportation array is exposed to the whole audience, as long as the core knowledge points, the temperature of the materials and other information are not taught, then outsiders will not be able to learn it. The difficulty in building the teleportation array is the production method. The collection of other materials is also somewhat difficult. After all, not everyone can travel thousands of miles to the Sea of Illusion like Chen Qingyun to buy void crystals from the Wanbao Conference, which is only held once every 50 years. As for those who have high-level formation masters, talisman makers, and weapon refiners at the same time, that's even rarer. Zhang Tanling is similar in age to Chen Xianming, and his formation skills are pretty good. Zhang Tanling, the head of the Zhang family on Chu Island, a 4th-level formation mage, and a good friend of Chen Xianming. After observing the contents of the jade slip for a while, many doubts about the teleportation array were finally solved one by one. From time to time, he had a look of enlightenment on his face, and finally he laughed to himself and said the same words to himself. Looking at Brother Zhang's appearance, it seems that the contents in this jade slip are quite accurate. Can you find anything wrong? Chen Xianming asked with a smile. Zhang Tanling finished reading the jade slips and nodded with certainty. Although I have never made a teleportation array, I have the ability to distinguish the authenticity and principles based on the theory of formation. Speaking of this, the smile on Zhang Tanling's face grew stronger. I can confirm that the refining method is correct, at least based on my current experience. We can completely follow it to make the teleportation array. Zhang Tanling was an old Zhang. Chen Xianming didn't take the initiative to mention the origin of this refining method, so he didn't ask. According to Chen Xianming's intention, all his attention was focused on the refining method, and he didn't say a word if he was too talkative. Ha ha ha, okay, with Brother Zhang's affirmation, we can rest assured that we will finally have the opportunity to make a teleportation array in the future. Chen Xianming laughed and said. Regarding the idea of building a teleportation array, Chen Xianming immediately started talking about it and decided to start with the Chen family first. Although the hematite veins have been mined and the refinery workshop is still in the shutdown stage, there is no need to cover up the existence of Zhenhai Island, and the teleportation array can be established on Zhenhai Island. But Chen Xianming thought more deeply and decided to try to build a teleportation array on Linksai Island first, where the foundation of the Chen family was located and needed to be protected first. It just so happened that there were many mortals living in the Zhang family. The mortals from the two families had close contacts and had already established a deep friendship. Therefore, based on the interests of the two clans, the Zhang family will not refuse the family mortals on Lingxi Island to be protected by the Chen family. Naturally, he will work harder when assisting in building the teleportation array, which can be regarded as a benefit to his family. After confirming that the method of making the teleportation array was correct, Chen Qingyun said, "Building the teleportation array is a far-reaching good thing for both our families. In terms of the materials required, what does Patriarch Zhang think?" The jade slips recorded in detail what materials needed to be used, and Chen Qingyun had never seen many of the materials. Now the construction method is correct, and whether the materials can be collected well or not, this is the second question to be faced. Zhang Tanling heard the implication of Chen Qingyun's words and said seriously, "This teleportation array is a small type. The farthest teleportation distance is about 100,000 miles. In terms of construction materials, although there are a total of 201 types of materials required, but fortunately the quantity of materials required is not large. In my opinion, apart from the void crystal and earth-suppressing stone, it is not a big problem to collect other materials." Regarding the details, Chen Qingyun and Chen Xianming asked in detail, mainly whether it was easy to build and whether it was possible to build it with the Zhang family's current formation inheritance. Zhang Tanling is 80–90% sure about this and can give it a try. It just so happens that he can take Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingling to participate in it and improve the formation method. In order to keep the content of today's conversation confidential, Zhang Tanling took the initiative to inform him when seeing him off that the matter was of great importance and could not be leaked to the outside world, and that the teleportation array still needed to be built secretly. For now, let's unite the two families first and collect the required materials. The parents of the two families reached an agreement on this and agreed to start collecting materials, and the details would be discussed later. The location selection for the construction of this teleportation array begins with Lingxi Island. If the subsequent construction goes smoothly, then just build a few more. After staying at Zhang's house for more than 2 hours and having a detailed discussion, Chen Xianming and the others got up and left. When the two of them left Zhang's house, a figure stood quietly in an attic not far away, his eyes following Chen Qingyun's figure until it disappeared from the sky. Upon learning that Chen Qingyun had come to the family, Zhang Wenhui immediately ran over and secretly followed Chen Qingyun. But after that, after the clan leader personally met with him, he could no longer be seen, nor could he hear the content of the conversation. It seemed that they were discussing something important. Seeing this, Zhang Wenhui was very sensible and did not listen. She just waited here, waiting for Chen Qingyun to show up again. Until now, watching Chen Qingyun go away, she had resisted the urge to chase him and call him. "He came to our Zhang family. Why don't you go to meet him?" A voice sounded behind Zhang Wenhui. The visitor was Zhang Wenjing, Zhang Wenhui's sister, who was 16 years older. Seeing Zhang Wenhui's eager look, she sighed slightly in her heart. Zhang Wenhui liked Chen Qingyun. Many people in the Zhang family knew that they liked Chen Qingyun and wanted to match them up. However, thinking of Chen Qingyun's current achievements, Zhang Wenhui was indeed not worthy of him. "Sister, Zhang Wenhui shook her head gently, as if talking to herself. "I'm not worthy of him, so I'd better not bother him." This muttering is like asking herself. She wants to meet him, but she feels that she will be ashamed in front of Chen Qingyun and show her weak side. "Then, let's not meet for now," she secretly said in her heart. "At least, wait until I am stronger and my formation attainments are better." Zhang Wenjing felt sorry for her sister and wanted to say something, urging her to get in touch with Chen Qingyun more. As the jewel in the family's palm, Zhang Wenhui's current achievements are also good. Her cultivation has reached the late stage of foundation building, and her formation attainments have been promoted to the 3rd level top grade. She is the formation master of the Zhang family, second only to Zhang Tanling. However, Compared with Chen Qingyun's Jiandan Cultivation, 4th level weapon refiner, and Jinling Patrol Star Envoy, there is indeed a big gap. Seeing Zhang Wenhui like this, Zhang Wenjing didn't say much, and finally sighed faintly. Hey. Chapter 745, Nascent Soul Middle Stage. The construction of the teleportation array has been put on the agenda. The old patriarch will follow up in real time, so Chen Qingyun does not need to worry about it. After returning to Zhenhai Island, Chen Qingyun entered the Blessed Land Bead and took out the spirit liquid of all beasts and the essence of wind grass, preparing to cultivate Biling, mulling and baling. At present, the strength of mulling and baling is in the middle stage of the purple mansion. Biling is at the peak of foundation building. First is the essence of wind grass, which only Biling is most interested in and has the best effect on it. Biling fluttered its wings, stretched its head and rubbed Chen Qingyun's palm, and swallowed all the essence of wind grass with excitement. Chen Qingyun waited patiently for a while, and soon saw that Biling had a reaction. A wind attribute power emanated from his body, forming a small tornado around, blowing up many plants and trees. Mulling and baling saw this, and looked around Biling and called out, and could feel the power in this partner growing. After a while, with the help of the essence of the wind source grass, Biling broke through the 2nd level and reached the 3rd level. The strength was improved, which made Biling particularly happy. She spread her wings and soared in the sky, making a crisp cry. Its smooth and gorgeous feathers looked particularly bright and beautiful under the reflection of the sun, reflecting a charming green light. A spirit beast was improved, and Chen Qingyun continued to feed it, and then divided the 10,000 beasts spirit liquid into 3 parts. The 2 largest parts were fed to Moling and Bailin in turn. The effect of the 10,000 beasts spirit liquid was better than the essence of the wind source grass. After the 2 spirit pets took it, in less than a day, Moling was the first to change and successfully advanced to the late stage of the purple mansion. Bailin was slightly inferior, and it was considered to have stepped half a foot into the late stage of the purple mansion. It would only take 3 or 4 years for it to grow to the late stage of the purple mansion by itself. There was still a small portion of the 10,000 beasts spirit liquid left, and Chen Qingyun summoned the 6-winged miasma cloud bee. The number of these spirit bees is growing rapidly, from more than 1,500 to more than 10,000. The 6-winged miasma cloud bees have a strong reproductive power, as long as they are given sufficient food, a comfortable environment, and no natural enemies. They can reproduce once a year and grow very quickly. Because their bloodline has been optimized by the ancient white stone, their offspring have reached the 4th order lower level. Although they cannot fight against Jiandan cultivators in terms of combat power, they are better in group activities and have a strong group combat effect. These 10,000 6-winged miasma cloud bees act collectively and release miasma poison. Even Jiandan late-stage cultivators dare not underestimate them. If they are not careful, they will be buried in this poisonous miasma. I remembered the last time the little guys showed their skills in the ruins of the 5-element sect and swallowed the black fog. Chen Qingyun realized that if he wanted these little guys to play a greater advantage, he must continue to expand the population. Once the number reaches 100,000 or 1 million, it will be enough to kill any Jiandan cultivator in the Jiandan stage. After that, if they continue to optimize their blood and cultivate the queen bee to the 5th level, it will be possible to fight against the Yuanying old monster. Smelling the scent of the 10,000 beast spirit liquid, these 6-winged miasma bees gathered around one by one, surrounding Chen Qingyun like stars supporting the moon. Chen Qingyun controlled the 10,000 beast spirit liquid to rise in the air, and under the effect of magic power, it spread into tiny water droplets, like a drizzle frozen in the air, so that these spirit bees can take it. The spirit bees rushed to take it, and fortunately they were able to eat a drop of the 10,000 beasts spirit liquid. After a while, their blood was optimized, and their strength was enhanced a bit, and they could already achieve the combat effectiveness comparable to that of Jiandan mid-stage cultivators. After tasting the sweetness of cultivating spirit beasts with the essence of Hunyuan grass and the spirit liquid of all beasts, Chen Qingyun became more and more aware that he should spend more time on cultivating spirit beasts in the future. Try to cultivate Mo Ling and others to the giant stage. It would be great if their cultivation can be ahead of him. In addition, the magic equipment and clones must also be improved, and more resources must be obtained to strengthen and improve. Staying in the Blessed Land bead, Chen Qingyun decided to optimize his equipment again. The Wanbao Conference has harvested more than 1,500 broken magic tools, green mirrors and magic weapon trophies. Taking advantage of the exchange of the red iron sword in the family this time, let's decompose them together. Take out all the magic tools that need to be decomposed, pile up like two small mountains, and Chen Qingyun decomposes them uniformly. Strengthening points plus 606316, adding the dozens of points left before, a total of 606,380 strengthening points. According to this number, Bawang can be strengthened to the middle stage of Yuanying. This made Chen Qingyun think. It can strengthen Jiuyu to the nascent soul stage, and it can also repair the green mirror. Now, should I first obtain a nascent soul clone, or a mid-grade spiritual treasure, or should I continue to strengthen Bawang? This thought flashed through my mind, and the answer came out quickly. There was no hesitation. If there are only 300,000 or 400,000 strengthening points, then it must be the first choice to strengthen Jiuyu to the nascent soul stage. With more than 600,000 strengthening points in hand, it is natural to strengthen Bawang to the middle stage of the nascent soul. No matter how good the magic weapon is, it can't play a big auxiliary role in the face of absolute strength. After taking out Bawang and issuing the strengthening order, the strengthening points were deducted, consuming 580,608 points. A golden light flashed on Bawang's body. While it was dazzling, the nascent soul in his body was further improved, and its strength was promoted to the middle stage of the nascent soul. The middle stage of the nascent soul, it's done. The improvement brought by the cultivation and the fluctuation of the breath emitted made Chen Qingyun, the original owner, feel a lingering fear and feel the huge pressure brought by the middle stage of the nascent soul. Compared with the early stage of the nascent soul, the strength of the middle stage of the nascent soul has increased by about 3 times. Even with bare hands, it is completely possible to kill 3 old monsters in the early stage of the nascent soul alone. If this is combined with the Tianyan double swords, the combat power will soar by several levels. With a more powerful clone in hand, Chen Qingyun is more confident in his heart, and he will no longer be afraid of the nascent soul cultivators in the Kuish cave in the future. Bawang, a 5-element nascent soul, is more than enough to beat the cultivators of the same level. Looking at the remaining enhancement points, Chen Qingyun chose to enhance the 30 puppets in the early stage of the foundation building and the 20 puppets in the late stage of the foundation building to the peak of the foundation building. Later, you can choose to fuse a magic weapon. Chen Qingyun thought about it and did not move for the time being. Instead, he took out the trident. As the unique magic weapon of the mermaid clan, this trident has the effect of controlling the power of water. It has a natural advantage in fighting in the sea and can split water and break waves. Using multiple tridents together can also have a large-scale killing effect. Chen Qingyun had a simple experience and was quite interested in this magic weapon. It happened to be equipped on the 5 elements puppet. How to refine this? This is simple. First, get the refining method. Chapter 746. See hard crystal. Looking at the trident in front of him, Chen Qingyun unfolded his analysis talent. Analysis. The analysis talent unfolded, and the trident in front of him turned into 2 balls of light, showing more than a dozen refining materials and a refining recipe. Chen Qingyun took a closer look and found that the trident in his hand was a 2nd level top grade 1, suitable for 2nd level mermaids. The other tridents were 1st level, 3rd level, and 4th level tridents, and the common point was that they were top grade in their respective grades. This showed that the mermaids were willing to spend money on magical equipment. If you want to use it, use the best. The middle grade and top grade ones are really not worth mentioning. Chen Qingyun checked the refining materials. There were 13 kinds in total, 5 2nd grade and 7 1st grade, and most of them were recognized. Only one of them was in the 4th level, with an ice blue appearance. I didn't recognize the crystal-like ore, and it was the first time I saw it. The viewer just learned that this ore was called Haixinjing, a 4th level ore, produced in the deep sea mountains, where cold air gathers. Because this sea heart crystal contains the original power of water, it is one of the main materials for refining the trident. It is indispensable and the most valuable material here. Sea heart crystal, deep sea ore. Generally speaking, the deep sea is dangerous due to the huge water pressure and the unknown monsters living there. Few cultivators are willing to go deep into it to mine ores. This also leads to the high price of ores produced from the deep sea. They are rarely circulated on the market and are basically in the hands of powerful forces. For example, the mermaids, who live on the seabed all year round, can easily control many seabed veins and treasures in the sea. This involves deep sea ore as the main material for refining, and it also requires 4th level ore. It is not easy to collect materials alone. No wonder this trident is only in the hands of the mermaids. Using 4th level deep sea ore to refine 3rd level magic tools, this mermaid clan is really rich and powerful. It seems that they have a lot of treasures in their hands. Chen Qingyun muttered to himself. Except for the sea heart crystal, the other 12 materials are not difficult to collect. As long as the materials are available, it will be very easy to refine with my weapon refining skills. After carefully reading the recipe, Chen Qingyun knew whether this magic weapon was easy to refine. He was 80–90% sure that he could successfully refine it in one go. There is no need to rush to refine it now. These analyzed materials are quite precious. Maybe they can be used in other aspects in the future. It is better to keep them for now. For example, this palm-sized sea heart crystal, if sold alone, because it is too rare, it can be sold at a price second only to the void crystal, which is worth at least 90,000 spirit stones. Such a rare ore cannot be obtained on a large scale for the time being, so Chen Qingyun can only give up the idea of uniformly equipping the 5 elements puppets with tridents. If a sea heart crystal vein can be discovered in the future, or dozens of sea heart crystals can be obtained, then it can be refined in large quantities. Thinking of the battle with the evil shark clan in the Star Sea Monster Tide before, and some tridents were captured, Chen Qingyun took them all out. After all these years of use, only 3 of these tridents remain, one of which is the Sea God Trident, which is equipped on the Sea God's clone. This evil mermaid originally came from the mermaid clan. Could it be that these 4 tridents were also made by adding sea heart crystal? Chen Qingyun directly selected a trident for analysis, and indeed analyzed a 4th level sea heart crystal. The other 12 materials are exactly the same as the previous trident. Seeing this, Chen Qingyun looked happy and directly analyzed the other 2 tridents, and obtained another identical material. Now 4 pieces of sea heart crystal are in hand, which are worth about 400,000 spirit stones, which is more than a top-grade magic weapon worth 240,000. According to the market price of a 2nd level top-grade trident, it is about 16,000 spirit stones. A 4th level sea heart crystal is worth 100,000 spirit stones. I didn't expect that just by analyzing 3 2nd level tridents, I could get 3 pieces of sea heart crystals. If I analyze this magic weapon into materials and sell them, the profit would be so rich. If I get more tridents in the future, I will have a way to get the sea heart crystals, which is a way to make money. This is a pleasant discovery. A smile appeared on Chen Qingyun's face, and he didn't mean to refine the trident again. In the end, the Sea God Trident was left on the Sea God's clone as a weapon because it needed to be used. After putting away these things, Chen Qingyun began to focus on the weapon refining workshop while he was free during this period of time, and prepared to find Wanjiantu to see if he could get 1 or 2 more soul puppets. It's better to start the work of restarting the weapon refining workshop as soon as possible and not delay. On that day, Chen Qingyun followed Liu Zilin to Lingbao Mountain. After leaving the sect for so many years, Liu Zilin returned to Lingbao Mountain and greeted Zhu Yurong first, telling him that he had returned safely, and then summoned Chen Nianwei and the other 2. After not seeing each other for so long, the 3 of them have improved their cultivation to some extent. Chen Nianwei has been promoted from the 8th level of Qi refining to the 9th level of Qi refining, and is now preparing to build a foundation. Seeing the return of her master, she can start her retreat. She was very happy to see Chen Qingyun. He Zitong had reached the 9th level of Qi refining more than 10 years ago. Because she had few connections in the sect before and did not earn much good deeds, she has been working on accumulating good deeds for the purpose of building a foundation. As long as she can exchange for a foundation building pill, she can immediately retreat to build a foundation. Zhuxiantu's cultivation is still at a bottleneck period, which is the initial stage of foundation building. How many merits do you still need? Liu Zilin asked He Zitong, preparing to help her get a foundation building pill. He Zitong is very smart. He guessed that the master would help him, and replied respectfully, I still need 3,112 merits. Well, I will make up for the missing points for you first. It's important for you to build your foundation first. That day, Liu Zilin took He Zitong and Chen Qingyun to the resource hall to exchange for foundation building pills. According to Liu Zilin's salary as an elder, it is 1,500 per year. This time I have been away from the sect for 12 years, that is 18,000. The salary accumulated over the years can be converted into merits, which is enough to meet the requirements for exchanging for foundation building pills. Chen Qingyun has made 10,000 merits through his own efforts and made talismans for the sect from time to time, so he doesn't have to worry about this. After Liu Zilin lent 3,112 points of good deeds to He Zitong, the two girls successfully exchanged for 2 foundation building pills. With the foundation building pills, He Zitong was very happy, secretly remembering the kindness of the master, and felt a warm feeling in his heart. On the second day, the two girls began to retreat under Liu Zilin's instructions, and it is expected that they will be able to come out of retreat in a year at most. In order to help Chen Qingyun successfully build a foundation, Chen Qingyun did not forget to give a few more instructions and imparted some valuable experience. The niece was able to build a foundation, which was also a wish come true. Chapter 747 Demon Locking Ring. After staying in Lingbaoshan for a few days, Chen Qingyun found Wanjiantu and mentioned the matter of making soul puppets. Flowers bloom and fall, spring passes and autumn comes. Decades have passed in the blink of an eye since I last refined a soul puppet for you. I guess you will come to me about this matter in the near future. To be honest, I have already prepared 3 soul puppets for you. You can take them now. Wanjiantu smiled slightly and took out 3 puppets and stood in front of her. 2 of them were men, and the first one was that of a young woman. She has been preparing in advance for the past 2 years, waiting for Chen Qingyun to come to her to mention this matter, and to win over Chen Qingyun more along the way, and accumulate more connections so that she can gain a firm foothold in the sect. Even if Chen Qingyun didn't come looking for him in the end and just spent some energy to refine the 3 puppets, it would still be a loss. Then, thank you fellow Taoist Wan. Chen Qingyun was not polite and looked at Wanjiantu a little surprised. Although this woman's cultivation level is only at the Zaifu stage, she has no hope of condensing golden elixirs in the future. She is already satisfied that she can successfully open up the Zaifu, and her path basically stops at the Zaifu stage. But this woman's mind was particularly delicate. She had already guessed this step and took action to refine the 3 soul puppets early. As Liu Zilin's senior sister, Wanjiantu is indeed not an easy person. It seems that she has the intention to win over her. The quality of these 3 soul puppets is much better than the previous one. They can be used for up to 100 years. If the senior feels that the quantity is small, the junior is willing to refine more, but it will require the senior to wait a few more days. According to Wanjiantu's introduction, the origins of these 3 soul puppets are clear, and they are all refined with the souls of foundation-building monks. These 3 foundation-building cultivators are cunning bandit cultivators who came from the outer star sea to cause trouble and committed heinous crimes. They should have been killed long ago. Therefore, Chen Qingyun does not need to worry about the origin of the soul. In order to refine the soul puppet, Wanjiantu will not kill innocent people indiscriminately. Wanjiantu successfully obtained the soul puppet. Wanjiantu did not take the initiative to mention the specific production method. It seemed that she did not mean to give it away. Chen Qingyun did not ask further questions about this. Out of grace and gratitude, He took out a small bag of spirit stones and gave them to Wanjiantu, treating them as buying these soul puppets. 50,000 spirit stones were not known to be too much or too little. Wanjiantu did not take them, but smiled faintly. "I appreciate the kindness of my senior. These puppets were given to me by my junior. Maybe if I have any difficulties in the future, I hope my senior can take care of them." The other party did not accept the spirit stone. Judging from this, he wanted to gain a favor. Chen Qingyun was not a petty person. This is Wanjiantu's senior sister and Chen Nianyu's uncle. He can take care of Chen Nianyu in the sect when Liu Zilin is out, so it's okay to owe him this favor. Thinking of this, Chen Qingyun took back the spirit stone and turned to leave with a polite word. In the next period of time, Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin discussed starting to make a teleportation order. Considering that Liu Zilin had just returned to the sect, Chen Qingyun was not in a hurry to ask her to go to Zhenhai Island together. After the two agreed to meet again on Zhenhai Island a month later, Chen Qingyun left Lingbao Mountain alone and returned to Zhenhai Island. The first thing I did when I came back was to put the restart of the weapon refining workshop on the agenda. Since the soul puppets have been trained before to learn the inscription formation, now that the 3 more effective soul puppets are in hand, this step will be easier, and a slightly higher grade formation pattern can also be inscribed. In the production line of the weapon refining workshop, we used to produce hematite swords, turtle shell shields and swords. One was a first-order low-grade sword, and the other was a first-grade medium-grade sword. Since the soul puppet is stronger this time, it's better to add a new magical weapon, exactly 3 kinds. Chen Qingyun discussed this idea with Chen Xianming. "Just go ahead and do it, I support it." Chen Xianming responded quickly. With the family's consent, Chen Qingyun opened his hands and chose the limit of the soul puppet inscription formation, and decided to add a second-level magic weapon. A few days later, in the weapon refining workshop. With the help of the power of the ground fire, almost to the extent that the flame-smelting material was maximized, a circular magic weapon was slowly shaped successfully, and then the soul puppet began to inscribe the formation on it. As the 66 formation patterns were engraved one after another, this magical weapon was successfully produced. This magical weapon can have a powerful restraining effect on the enemy, can be shrunk or enlarged, and can release a paralyzing effect. Chen Qingyun named it the Demon Locking Ring, and its grade has reached the 2nd level mid-grade. Demon Locking Ring, 2nd level mid-grade. With this Demon Lock Ring, there is one more option for selling to the outside world. A new magic weapon was added. Chen Qingyun let the 3 soul puppets master the formation patterns of these 3 magic weapons and began to put them into the production line. The rest of the smelting, fusion, shaping and other steps follow the previous system. A new underground fire smelting site was built, and a new production line for the Demon Locking Ring was built. This restart of the weapon refining workshop was more than half done. Later, it would be enough to recruit some people to participate in the production. The first batch of workers in the weapon refining workshop were Chen Bekai and others. Time flies, and decades have passed in the blink of an eye, and some of the workers have returned to dust. Chen Bekai has also become a gray-haired old man. He lives his life on the island and no longer participates in the labor force. Chen Qingyun decided to handle the recruitment of labor force himself. Maintaining the previous job benefits, after the recruitment announcement was issued in the towns on the island, there was an endless stream of applicants. The weapon refining workshop has been restarted, finally restarted. This is where I worked for decades. Chen Bekai stood in front of the recruitment notice with a cane, his face full of memories and emotion, and he was quite excited. After working hard in the weapon refining workshop for decades, he accumulated a lot of wealth, successfully married and had children, and lived a happy life. Now the biggest wish is to see the weapon refining workshop continue to be passed down, and now it has finally come true. After recruiting the staff, the weapon refining workshop began to restart the production line. Chen Qingyun reported the news to Chen Xianming, and the family sent people to take over the next day. The people who came were Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun, who were responsible for the subsequent transportation and sale of the magic tools. Over on the psychedelic island, because of the presence of guest elders, the deterrent power of the Chen family no longer required Chen Qingyun and his wife to stay there permanently. In terms of garrison, the current cultivators of the Chen family are full. When we expand more territory and control resources such as spirit stone mines in the future, we will need to increase our manpower. After handing over the relevant matters of the weapon refining workshop and finishing this busy period, Chen Qingyun began to focus on the production of the teleportation order. Chapter 748 Teleportation. At the agreed time of 1 month, Liu Zilin arrived as scheduled, came to Zhenhai Island alone, sent a message to Chen Qingyun, and did not land on the island casually. As for the Chen family's resource land, she knew the importance of this place. Considering from Chen Qingyun's perspective, she quietly waited for the reply before setting foot on the island. Chen Qingyun had been waiting for Liu Zilin to arrive, and welcomed Liu Zilin to the island after receiving the message. After resting for a while, he mentioned the matter of making a teleportation order, and then took her to Tankuai Cave Mansion to start exploring the teleportation array. Because this teleportation array is very old, it needs to be carefully observed and then corresponding to the refining of the teleportation order, so the two began to observe carefully these days to ensure that it can succeed at once. With the 4th level refining and talisman making attainments, Liu Zilin has a thorough understanding of the entire teleportation array and is the first to draw conclusions. This teleportation array is at least a large one, which can teleport to tens of millions of miles away in an instant. The effect is amazing. This Tangai Patriarch is really generous. This teleportation array alone is worth a fortune, and it has exceeded tens of millions of spirit stones. Liu Zilin said. She learned about the origin of Tangai Cave Mansion from Chen Qingyun, and browsed all parts of the cave. The cave can be moved, and a large teleportation array is built in it. If I hadn't known that this was the cave inheritance left by Tangai Patriarch, I would have thought it was a treasure left by some Yuanying old monster, or even a cultivator in the god transformation stage. It took Liu Zilin a day to explore this teleportation array, and she had a clear understanding in her mind and began to try to make a teleportation order. The method of making a teleportation order is recorded in the jade slip left by Ranzinsi. After learning from Chen Qingyun, Liu Zilin took over the void crystal and started making it, and Chen Qingyun assisted from time to time. Since only the void crystal is needed, no other materials are needed. The refining process starts with 4 steps: smelting, fusion, shaping, and inscription. The fusion step is very simple. The inscription phase is different from other 4th level magic tools. The number of array patterns that need to be engraved here is 522. And 351 runes need to be drawn. The core of the process of making runes is drawing runes. 2 4th level refiners took action, one of whom was also a 4th level rune maker. This refining went very smoothly. Chen Qingyun took on the first part of the refining task, and the second half of the drawing rune step was completed by Liu Zilin. The two only used 1/3 of the void crystal. After a month, a teleportation order was refined and suspended in Liu Zilin's palm. Chen Qingyun completed the inscription phase very easily, all of which were entry-level 4th level array patterns. Liu Zilin was very serious about drawing the key runes after taking over the refining. She drew them bit by bit, and completed the drawing of the runes one by one in coordination with the array patterns built on the teleportation array. After watching the drawing of the runes, Chen Qingyun found that he could only understand some of the basics, which were a little similar to the inscription array. If you delve into the principles, you will not understand them for the time being. In a blink of an eye, another half a month passed. On this day, with the successful drawing of the last rune and the fusion of the array pattern, the teleportation order was finally successfully refined. With this teleportation order, the two looked at each other, smiled knowingly, and decided to try the teleportation effect. Because the teleportation array is complex to build and uses a lot of precious materials, it has the effect of communicating with the void, so it requires huge power to drive and maintain. According to the energy required for the operation of a small teleportation array, at least a high-grade spirit stone is required as the base, and this teleportation array is the same. Fortunately, the ancestor of Tangai is generous and not a stingy person. He has already placed a top-grade spirit stone in this teleportation array. This top-grade spirit stone still has 50% to 60% of its energy left, which is enough to activate the teleportation array for more than 10 times, and it can be regarded as saving a top-grade spirit stone for the two of them. Considering where the other end of the teleportation array is located, whether there is danger, and how far it is, these are still unclear. It is not appropriate to blindly teleport there to explore. Chen Qingyun thought about it and decided to send a clone to explore and see what the scene is like on the other side. Among the several clones, Baoang does not need to be dispatched first. Since he wants to teleport himself and Liu Zilin there again, it is most suitable to conduct the experiment with a giant and stage clone to correspond to his own strength. Jiuyu went out and entered the teleportation array. Chen Qingyun looked at Liu Zilin and nodded. "Let's start." Liu Zilin was no longer surprised that Chen Qingyun had puppets and clones, and Chen Qingyun did not hide it and told her the truth. Seeing Jiuyu enter the teleportation array, Liu Zilin agreed with the idea of using a clone to explore first. She didn't want Chen Qingyun to take risks, so she nodded in approval. "Well, good." Liu Zilin held a teleportation order in her hand and began to inject magic power into it. The teleportation order slowly flew into the array, changing from the original palm size to a diameter of nearly 2 meters, communicating with the top-grade spirit stones in the teleportation array to provide energy, thus activating the entire teleportation array. The array has been in a static state for a long time. This time it was activated, making a buzzing sound, shaking a lot of dust accumulated in the array. The mysterious array patterns seemed to have spirituality, and they emerged and overlapped one after another, forming mysterious golden patterns, which looked extremely extraordinary. The two felt the powerful power displayed by the array, and felt like they were facing an awakened ancient giant beast, full of the heavy sense of history. A vicissitudes of life and ancient atmosphere came over, making the atmosphere here suddenly solemn. Feeling this atmosphere, Chen Qingyun's expression moved, and he subconsciously recalled the scene and feelings when he took the Xingzong teleportation array before, which was far less clear and profound than what he saw now. This made Chen Qingyun feel that this teleportation array was very unusual, and the teleportation distance it could reach was far beyond those teleportation arrays in the Xinghai. In all likelihood, it was really possible to teleport out of the inner sea and land on the mainland. He immediately felt a great sense of anticipation and paid attention to the changes around him. A colorful light rose around the formation, covering the entire formation, which was extremely dazzling, making Chen Qingyun and the others feel blinded. The entire Tangai Cave mansion, regardless of the area or corner, was shining brightly under the reflection of this colorful light. At this moment, even outside the Tangai Cave mansion, a circular light flashed within a radius of 1 kilometer, like a small sun appeared in the sea. Fortunately, the Tangai Cave mansion is located on the seabed. Under the cover of layers of seawater, no light or strange phenomena can be seen from the sea surface, avoiding attracting outsiders to come and check. Even if it attracts attention, it is only the cultivators on Zhenhai Island, and it will not attract any covetousness. In the reflection of the strong light, Jiuyu was pulled by the power of the formation, and the whole thing suddenly began to shine and began to teleport. The teleportation order is the key required to use the teleportation array, usually made by a 4th-level refiner and a 4th-level talisman maker. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 749 Mysterious Mountains. The moment the teleportation effect was activated, the teleportation array was like a giant whale swallowing water, frantically extracting a large amount of spiritual power from the top-grade spiritual stone. If this level of swallowing was supplied by the mon of a giant and cultivator, it would be sucked clean in one go. The powerful teleportation power was activated, and it caused a scene of shaking the earth and mountains, and the entire Tangai Cave mansion trembled. This vibration was no less than a small-scale earthquake. Even the seabed mountain range where Tangai Cave mansion was located was affected to some extent, and it shook slightly a few times, scaring some fish to scatter and spread out from the mountain range. Zhenhai Island, which was close to Tangai Cave mansion, was not affected much, and was still in a quiet and peaceful state as usual. 6th, brother. This is the activation of the teleportation array. On Zhenhai Island, Chen Qingyun had guessed the purpose of this visit when he saw Yuzilin coming earlier, and now he noticed the changes in Tangai Cave Mansion. I hope everything will be successful. The Tangai Patriarch was far-sighted and had long considered the abnormal movements that would be caused when the teleportation array was activated. So he built the entire cave house to be unbreakable and integrated. He even arranged it very carefully, and did not forget to arrange the anti-seismic prohibition. At this critical moment, this prohibition was automatically activated and protected the entire cave house. The scene caused in this short period of time was seen by Chen Qingyun and the others, and their eyes were focused on the teleportation array that was full of light. At this moment, Chen Qingyun only felt that he was in a void, losing his sense of space, time, and direction. The powerful force of space swept over, like thousands of layers of water and waves hitting him. This sense of oppression made Chen Qingyun take a breath. When he took the teleportation array of Xingzong before, he did not have such an obvious feeling. At most, there was a sense of dizziness, with a little impact thrust. Even a cultivator in the chi refining stage could bear it. But the feeling at the moment only makes people feel that the experience brought by this teleportation array is too real and huge. This is Jiuyu, who is at the peak of the golden core, and his life will not be endangered. If it were a chi refining or foundation building cultivator, he would not be able to withstand this kind of spatial force, and his tendons would burst directly and fall here. Liu Zilin also noticed the movement in the teleportation array and continued to activate the teleportation order. While maintaining the stable operation of the spiritual power of the Spirit Stone, she shot a spiritual light to bless Jiuyu. This thing is called the Space Jade Talisman. The grade is the 4th grade lower grade, and the effect is very simple. It can resist the invasion of spatial oppression and turbulence, and play the role of escort during teleportation. Considering the crisis that would be faced during teleportation early, Liu Zilin made preparations and refined 3 such Space Jade Talismans, and also prepared various elixirs and protective instruments. With the protection of the Space Jade Talisman, Chen Qingyun felt that the tearing and oppression suddenly disappeared. When he looked around again, the scene had changed and the teleportation was completed. With his consciousness settled in Jiuyu, Chen Qingyun only felt a little dizzy at this time, and did not feel any other discomfort, and his mana remained full. The experience of riding the teleportation array this time, except for the initial tension and oppression, was a little exciting, and it was no different from the previous one. Looking around, Chen Qingyun found that the surroundings had changed to a different world. He was in a dark environment, and could only barely see that it was a cave area, not exposed to the outside world. The place where he was standing now was also in a teleportation array. A thick metallic texture came from his feet. It seemed that the construction scale and material of this teleportation array were the same as those in Tankai Cave Mansion. The array base here was also built very solidly, all of which were made of the same ground-suppressing stone, and the cost was not cheap. With the eyesight of a cultivator, the dim light was not affected. Chen Qingyun carefully explored and looked around, and there was no trace of cultivators here. Everything seemed quiet and very quiet, as if isolated from the world. Thinking that this might be the cave left by the ancestor of Tangai, Chen Qingyun did not act rashly. He expanded his spiritual sense and explored carefully, and found that this cave was artificially excavated, with simple living facilities and 3 side rooms. Chen Qingyun took a rough look and found that the facilities here were very simple, with only stone benches, tables and chairs, a stone bed, and a dozen wooden shelves, which was a typical shabby room. The only valuable and expensive thing was this teleportation array. No cultivators were found here. Looking closely at the dust and the environment here, a thick layer of dust fell, and it seemed that it had not been lived in for a long time. This also made Chen Qingyun secretly relieved, as if he had broken into someone else's cave. There was spiritual energy surrounding it. This place was built in an underground spiritual vein, which was about the 4th level middle grade. There was a 4th level spiritual vein, which was not bad. It provided a stable energy foundation for the teleportation array. It would be a good choice to stay here for cultivation in the future as a foothold. Not finding any other clues worth noting in the cave, Chen Qingyun began to focus on the outside of the cave and walked to the exit of the cave. A band was set up at the entrance of the cave, which not only played a hidden role, but also prevented outsiders from stepping in, and there was no restriction from the inside to the outside. Chen Qingyun passed through the ban, and the light fresh air of grass and trees after the rain came to his face. The scenery in front of him was bright, full of green, and the sound of insects and birds came to his ears. Looking up, he was in a lush and green mountain range, which looked full of vitality, with towering ancient trees and rugged rocks. Looking further into the distance, you can see several majestic and long mountains, occupying this piece of heaven and earth, full of natural and magnificent scenery. The mountain scene outside the teleportation array cave. Where is this? On a spiritual island, or is it really on a continent? Looking at the scene in front of him, Chen Qingyun can achieve the effect of synchronization of the 5 senses from the perspective of Jiuyu, which is equivalent to being there in person. The divine sense spread out, and the divine sense of the Jiandan period was released to the maximum, covering a radius of 400 miles. Even so, the area that can be explored is still in this mountain range. The mountain range covering an area of at least 400 miles is undoubtedly very huge. Either it is really on the continent, or it is a very huge island, so large that the coastline border cannot be seen here. Paying close attention to the slightest movement and every blade of grass and tree in this range, Chen Qingyun found that there are humans and monsters here. The monsters have different shapes, some big and some small. The largest one is a black ape, which lives in the valley and has a strong power of giant and stage. The smallest one is the size of a marmot. Because of its strange appearance, it is the first time I have seen it, so I can't tell what race it is. This is a lively area, which makes Chen Qingyun look around more curiously, trying to figure out where it is. Chapter 750 Huangsha Island, the origin of the Boundary Sea. In this mysterious mountain range, the appearance of these monsters was expected. What Chen Qingyun was most concerned about was the human cultivators who appeared here. From the scope of the exploration, there were no towns or villages built here. Some cultivators were scattered all over the place, occupying a spiritual vein to reproduce and thrive. After careful exploration, it was a family of immortal cultivators. Chen Qingyun's expression moved, and he continued to pay close attention. Soon he found 2 such immortal cultivators. The total population was about 50,000. The population size was not large, and it could be said that there were very few. In addition, there were tribes here. Some people lived in groups in primitive clothes. Among them, there were some cultivators who could resist the attacks of ordinary monsters. There was no sect rule, only families and tribes were passed down here. This situation could happen. I think this place is not a prosperous place, a bit like a barren borderland. At present, my strength is still limited. Next time I come here, I can directly let Baoang come to carefully explore with divine consciousness to further understand this place. Since he was new here and unfamiliar with the place, Chen Qingyun did not move around casually, so as not to expose the location of the teleportation array. He chose to observe secretly first, using his spiritual sense to pay attention to the movements around. The closest to this underground cave is a family built on a mountain more than 100 miles away. Chen Qingyun temporarily chose this family as the observation target and began to observe carefully. Because of the advantage of the clone, from Jiuyu's perspective, all the seen and heard here can be transmitted to Chen Qingyun's body in real time. Chen Qingyun told Liu Zilin what he saw and heard one by one, and decided to stay here for a while, first roughly figure out the situation here, and then decide whether to let Liu Zilin come to see it together. Time passed unknowingly, and a year passed in the blink of an eye. From some language barriers at the beginning, to the use of the 5 elements magic, quietly learning and inquiring about information in this immortal family. After all this effort, Chen Qingyun finally understood the situation here clearly. Different from what I imagined, this place is not on the mainland, but an island called Huangsha Island, located in the northern part of the Boundary Sea, in the vast sea. So far, there are 3 immortal cultivation families and 6 primitive tribes on this island. In terms of the number of cultivators, there are 299 cultivators and 120,000 mortals. As for the cultivators, there are 3 purple mansion cultivators, each of whom is the leader of the 3 tribes. The highest is in the middle stage of purple mansion. There are 12 foundation building cultivators, and more than 200 chi refining cultivators. Nearly 300 cultivators can actually produce 3 purple mansion cultivators. This ratio is very amazing, which makes Chen Qingyun puzzled. Here, is there any amazing natural treasures and top resources? Or is the other party's cultivation method somewhat special, with immortal methods in hand? The primitive tribe is also quite powerful, although there are only a dozen cultivators. There are 2 foundation building cultivators, one in the early stage of foundation building and one in the middle stage of foundation building. These tribal monks are not ruled by the 3 families. They live on their own on the island and do not interfere with each other. It is worth mentioning that the size of this Huangsha Island is far beyond Chen Qingyun's imagination. There is a mountain range that stretches 3 million miles from north to south, called the Huang Mountain Range. There are many miasma monsters, birds and poisonous insects in the mountain range. Because of the complex environment, while giving birth to many terrains, countless natural treasures and rare treasures have also been born. However, because there are giant and monsters living in the depths of the Huang Mountain Range, the monks on the island dare not go deep at all. They can only move around the periphery of the mountain range and compete for some limited cultivation resources. But even so, these resources are very rich, and Chen Qingyun is a little jealous. It was precisely because of this discovery that Chen Qingyun's previous doubts were solved. Why is there so few monks on this Huangsha Island, but it can give birth to a purple mansion monk? In the south of Huangsha Island is a vast and barren yellow desert, which occupies about 1/3 of the entire island. The name of Huangsha Island also comes from this. The situation on this island is actually not what Chen Qingyun is most concerned about. What interests him most is this Boundary Sea. At the beginning, Chen Qingyun thought that the reason why the Boundary Sea has this name is because the geographical location of this sea area is like a star ring of a planet, which wraps the 6 major sea areas such as the Liling Sea and the Inner Sea, thus getting this name. At that time, the information available was limited, and the description of the Boundary Sea by the Xingzong was very limited. It was almost a passing mention, calling it the Boundary Sea, the biggest barrier to landing on the mainland. Now, after exploring on Huangsha Island, Chen Qingyun finally figured out what this Boundary Sea is. He felt mixed emotions for a while, and couldn't help sighing. It turned out that this Boundary Sea has this name because this sea area is essentially very unusual, and it is actually composed of tens of thousands of broken spaces. Tracing the origin of the Boundary Sea, it is somewhat similar to the Illusion Sea, and is a product born in the same period. It was during that ancient war of destruction that many great masters fought a shocking duel here, causing the originally vibrant sea world to collapse and shatter into pieces, and since then it has become a place of no souls, leading to the extinction of species. Among the traumas left by this shocking war, there are countless space fragments scattered throughout the sea, devouring all the passing creatures. Whether it is a cultivator, a monster, or any other race, once they are sucked into these space fragments, they are basically dead. Compared with the Boundary Sea, the Fantasy Sea was only affected by the aftermath of the ancient war, and the innocent people were affected, so they became the Fantasy Sea. Comparing the two, it is just a small witch meeting a big witch. The danger of the Boundary Sea is thousands of times greater than that of the Fantasy Sea. This is the origin of the Boundary Sea. What Chen Qingyun felt even more was the constant sense of crisis. The Boundary Sea has been expanding into the inland sea. Countless space cracks and space fragments are like black holes, constantly devouring the surrounding seas. Some of them can even devour visible light, and wherever they go, it becomes a pitch-black sea where you can't see your hand in front of you. Faced with the encroachment of the boundary sea, the Fantasy Sea is the most affected. The Fantasy Sea is adjacent to the boundary sea. In recent years, the area of the Fantasy Sea has been shrinking. The same is true for the 4 seas adjacent to the boundary sea, including the Thunder Spirit Sea, the Mermaid Sea, and the Misty Blood Sea. The sea map is basically updated and iterated every 10 years. The scope of each sea area continues to decrease, while the boundary sea shows a stable expansion trend. So far, only the 10,000 Demon Sea and the Star Sea are not eroded by the boundary sea because they are located in the central area of the inner sea and are isolated by the 4 sea areas of the Thunder Spirit Sea. However, don't be happy too soon. Because according to this trend, sooner or later, the entire inner sea will be swallowed up by the boundary sea. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.